Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Smite Prime. It feels good to say that again. We are here with the 2026 kickoff EU Conquest tournament. My name's Morty. We've got the whole Smite Prime crew next to us. We've got Jithens, we've got Testai, we've got Rosies, and most importantly, next to me here in the booth is none other than Spirited Book. What's going on?
Doing good, Mort. I'm really happy to be back casting in 2026 this time. Feels like it's been a whole year since you and I commentated together, so good to be back.
It has been quite some time. I mean, it definitely felt like a long break, but I'm more than happy to be back. We've got more gods, a lot of stuff, more items, more everything, and we've got more coming at you here. Let's talk about what is on the line for today, the EU Conquest Tournament. And it is a whole lot of moolah, $5,000 more, and also some diamonds on the line.
Yeah, gotta get those diamonds. Always gotta be acquiring the diamonds for the new skins that are gonna be coming out. But yeah, I'm more concerned about that $5,000. Definitely looking forward to playing for that kind of money, or seeing the players play for that kind of money for sure. And I mean, I'm excited. It's some exciting matchups that we're gonna be seeing today. So yeah.
And speaking of matchups, let's go ahead and take a look at the brackets and see who is where, what teams we've got for today. And there is a good mix of, there are obviously some EU signups for an EU tournament, but there's also a couple names that you'll remember if you've been watching some of our NA Conquest tournaments. There are some NA players on here. Of course, they'll be playing on ping because these are on EU servers, but a little bit of both. So I'm excited to see, how they mix and match things. I think one thing that we can remember definitely is how EU plays the game a little bit differently than NA does.
Yeah, EU kind of known traditionally for that very slow, methodical play style, playing for the objectives, not a lot of team fighting or scrapping. Versus North America, it's just kind of W key from minute one, though I feel like in Smite 2 as of late, a lot of that sort of idea of, EU plays really slow, NA really fast. I feel like that kind of idea has been put to rest as of late. It feels like it's been Europe that's been really playing that W key style and playing really fast and loose, especially around their junglers.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, jungle being an extremely prominent role right now. Then you've also got some just aggressive overall EU players. Looking at some of the names here, Smokebreak is somebody who I want to be following because they've got Genetics, they've got Sap7, two players that went extremely far in the Founders Series, all the way to the very end with Team Risk. And to see them come back with Smokebreak and maybe try and put some BDA right here on Prime would be awesome. I mean, I'm really excited to see how far they go, and hopefully we get to see them pretty early.
Yeah, for sure. And one of the other rosters I want to give a quick shout out to is Clown Fiesta. Some notable names from back in the day of, Kalas, Wolfie, and Ice, who are on that Team Rival roster from season 4 and 5, I want to say, once upon a time. So some notable names kind of coming back together here in Smite 2, which is exciting. It's really exciting to see. It's some old heads who are coming back to play the game again, and what exactly are they going to be able to adapt to this Smite 2 meta that's really kind of changed? Are they going to be able to, use their old play styles, maybe make them work in the new meta? I'm not so sure.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a consensus around some of the old heads coming to Smite 2 that have been around with Smite 1 for a minute, and they make their way over here, and some of them sink and some of them swim. Some of them just can't figure out the active items, and, relics are a little bit different now. Obviously, itemization is changing quite often because we've got a lot of updates, a new god every 2 weeks, and then there's always balance with that as well. But some of the old heads come into Smite 2 like they never left the game, and, I mean, some of them just succeed extremely. You and I have both seen that.
Yeah, I mean, that 5Ms roster from Vegas once upon a time is a clear example of a team and with 5 players who are all pretty solid and have had success in Smite 1, come in, be successful. So, yeah, excited to see some of the old heads come back, but there's a lot of new talent, I think, also that has come into the field of Smite Prime as of late. And, obviously Sunprod doing very well, was very successful 2 weeks ago, in the North America tournament alongside veterans like Zapman. It's this really lovely blend of new talent mixed in with old veteran talent.
Well, we've got picks and bans ready to watch the first game of the EU Conquest tournament here. We're going to be watching over Smokebreak take on a hyped up gaming org. And we know some names on both sides here. We already talked about Genetics and Sap7, Banco, Vapors Coast are all here. But on the other side, Kalino, blocks. I mean, I know some of these names.
Yeah, April as well in the jungle going to be rocking over there for sure. So yeah, a couple of known names across both teams, but I mean, I'm looking at this smoke break roster, man. They look very strong. Benko, you know, once upon a time known as Deathwalker with the hypest tier play once upon a time against the Solar Scarabs, I believe. So it's just some notable names over there that I think, you know, they are very good. To me, it's going to be paying attention to what hyped up gaming org decide to go for in this draft, and what do they really look to facilitate and prioritize to allow them to succeed against a roster that is just so stacked with talent.
I'm not gonna lie, I did not know that Banco was Deathwalker. I can't imagine. I mean, think about it. You created the hypest moment in esports history, arguably, with that 5-man tier role.
Yep.
I would never want to leave that identity. I would want to be known as Deathwalker until my deathbed. I mean, I guess that's just me though, and everybody's got their reasons, and we don't have to get into that. But what we do need to get into is that we do have bans underway, Discordia and Odin, and Discordia wasn't even around really since the last time that we were together.
Yeah, Disco being added into the game, a very prominent mid laner pick as of late, and I feel like does fit the EU playstyle very effectively of just kind of sitting back, farming for a bit, getting some items, getting the levels, which I think is more important to Discordia as of late. Getting the experience online. Just such a strong AoE control mage with the madness on the 2, the ulti as well with the golden apple, creating so much havoc in team fights, as well as just bringing a ton of damage as well. Do you also want to take a quick note of, are we going to see a Naja ban? The latest addition to Smite 2 is Naja, obviously. So where do we see the priority between these two teams? Is it going to be picked? Is it going to be banned? A lot of EU players, jungles in particular, loved this character from back in the day. So excited to see if this is going to be the priority.
Yeah, it's been kind of hard to tell what the pro player bias is. I've seen like Elion, who's obviously been a long time Nija enjoyer. Some of the old heads definitely love Nija still and feel like, you know, it's like a fresh but familiar feel to the god when she dropped into UE5, Smite 2. But some other junglers just not as strong. And I guess it all depends on how late you're looking to go. Obviously, we know that now with Nijas +1 and Smite 2, you get increasing crit damage as the game goes on. Every stack of Righteous Spirit gives a little bit of crit damage, so the later you go, the stronger Neja gets. Do you want to invest into the late game, or do you want to invest into early? That's where the jungler pick lies. But Anhur is going to be the first pick for Smoke Break.
Yeah, Anhur, one of these characters we've seen rise into providence since that strength to basic attack change on a lot of the items. One of the characters that can really use Oathsworn Spear, which I think has become very prominent in ADC builds as of late, can proc it very well off that ultimate, the spears. So yeah, I feel like I'm a little surprised to see it first overall, though. I mean, across the way, hyped up gaming org, they've locked a very scary top 2. Artio, very strong in the soul lane right now, and Guan Yu, I think, rising once again in the support role. Very strong character there as well. So again, I'm a little shocked by Smokebreak's first pick to prioritize this on her. But I mean, Coast loves this pick, man. This is one of his best picks by a mile back in season 10 when he was just dominating ADCs after swapping over to that Jade Dragons roster. So yeah, pay attention towards him in the dual lane.
And that's because Genetics likes to roam around a little bit. Genetics likes to do his own thing. I can get aggressive depending on what pick I have. He's going to roam into the jungle. And if you're by yourself, you're going to need a carry that can let you be a little more self-reliant, right? And Honor has so much on his own kit. He's got CC immunity with his ult. Disperse lets him get over walls pretty easily. Impale gives him a little bit of space to breathe should somebody be diving him. So yeah, Honor is a great pick here. And to line up with Amaterasu, who we haven't seen like hardly anything of. Honestly, this is kind of a shocker to me. And Chiron, who's been super strong since he dropped in. I mean, constant nerfs, but still thrives above most mid laners. Chiron's a great pick.
Yeah, again, just long range artillery, but this time in the form of a hunter. Often we see that for the mages like the Raw across the way, but instead it's going to be in the form of that hunter role. But yeah, I think this is going to go to SAP 7 in the mid lane. Chiron traditionally has played more often than not in mid over 80 carry. So pay attention towards that. You mentioned the Amaterasu. Benko loves Amaterasu. For whatever reason, he seems to love this pick in particular and really play towards the team fights rather than the laning phase. Ama kind of struggles a little bit there versus I think come late game, Amaterasu really can be that bully that just runs down enemy ADCs.
Okay, so putting 2 and 2 together, well, I guess 2 and 3, that makes 5 on Smoke Break. I think this is a Chiron support. This could be a genetics pick on Chiron because he does have the aspect of the heroic tutor, and that gives him a lot more utility through Centaurus. So there is a possibility there. Maybe Ama goes into the jungle. Banco picks up Serb for solo. You got a lot of anti-heal options, and Ardio, especially with her aspect, she can heal up quite a bit as well. So that's a good counter pick there. I mean, I feel like this is it looks a little funky on paper, but matchup wise, there's a lot that counters what Hyped Up Gaming Org are bringing to the table. So I definitely understand where they're coming from.
Yeah, I'm almost kind of curious to see. Personally, when I saw that Poseidon locked in, I thought maybe that was going towards Johnny in the jungle. You put Cerberus for genetics, and then Amaterasu again going to Banco. But I agree. I think Chiron could work in that support role. Ama jungle, Cerberus solo, and then Sap 7 gonna be rocking the Poseidon. I know Sap loves the Poseidon as well. So yeah, I think it's kind of a toss-up on where everything can go. But Hyped Up Gaming Org locking in Cernanos last overall here. And now I'm also curious where they're slotting their characters. Cernanos, ADC, Jingwei jungle maybe is my best guess.
I mean, CERN aspect of Strife, taking him into the jungle. I mean, he's got a really, really solid clear. And you mentioned earlier, EU players love that slow, methodical farming phase. We'll work our way into the aggression. Don't worry. But for now, we're going to farm, get some items online. We'll come see you in a little bit. And who's better for hyper farming than CERN? But we'll find out how things go when we go into the game right here, right now. For those of you just now joining us, we've got our first game of the EU Conquest tournament live coming at you. My name's Morty, joined by the whole Smite Prime crew. We've got Jithens, we've got Rosie, we've got Testai, and next to be casting as well as Spirited Book. We've got a hell of a game awaiting us.
Yeah, this should be a good one here as we do see it. Yeah, you were right. You called it the CERN jungle, and it's going to be rocking the aspect as well. So not going to be able to use the ranged auto attacks, instead becoming a true melee character, but you'll be able to use that dash a whole lot more effectively in team fights for just good damage overall. So expect Hyped Up Gaming Org to kind of play the early game a little slow without having that traditional assassin to really get the ball rolling in the early game. But the objective shred potential on the side of Hyped Up Gaming Org will not, you can't really scoff at it. It's pretty good here.
Yeah, there's a lot of hyper farm potential from Hyped Up Gaming Org, but I do like, there's just so much counterpick potential from Smoke Break. The anti-heal you get from Serb's passive, genetics, just being present, just being around is going to be making it so hard for Clino to heal, for April to heal. There's a heal on pretty much every single member of Hyped Up Gaming Org, so that anti-heal option is going to be great.
That's true. That is a nice selection there for genetics, going to be able to deny a lot of the healing on the side of Hyped Up Gaming Org. But you kind of mentioned it. Where are these picks on Smoke Break going? It is going to be the Poseidon in the jungle. So similar to Hyped Up Gaming Org, both junglers just kind of want to spend a little bit of time, focused on farming, focused on getting to their level 5s where they can have big, impactful team fight ultimates. And that is, to me, what I think it's going to come down to is which jungler can have the bigger impact, as already the beads are pulled off of the Jingwei.
Dang, the damage from the Serb one is nasty. Genetics barely got level 2, immediately threw a spit, paralyzing spit right at the face of Zuazia, and just hurt tremendously. I did not expect this Serb pick to really bring that much aggression, but I guess he's got something up his sleeve there with that damage.
I think a part of it too is Hyped Up Gaming Org. Their duo lane is very low priority in terms of clear. It's a Jingwei who already doesn't have a ton of clear potential, mixed in with a Guan Yu, also no clear potential, as we see on the left-hand side. April could get caught. The duo lane's on the way.
They are on the way, but don't want to invest too much into this because April is full health and walking back towards the mid lane. And we see Chiron hanging out over there, as well as Pasha around the corner. But April getting pushed away. It looks like we're not going to see too much fighting here. Just, got a quick camp and then running away.
Yeah, a nice little invade, though, for April. And that's going to put him just a tad ahead of Pasha, as in the dual lane.
Paralyzing Spit into the Disperse, and Impale from there puts Ralak at a very, very low health point, but Conviction will bring him a little bit of healing, and as long as he can just keep doing that away from Genetics, you can get a lot of your health back. Another Paralyzing Spit into the Impale, down to what looks like at least 5 health. I mean, that is dangerous. That is a dangerous game to be playing.
This Anher already doing so much in this dual lane, and this is what Anher wants to do, wants to be aggressive in this early game, paired alongside the Cerberus. Coast and Genetics are able to do exactly that, continuing to pressure out this Jingwei and Guan Yu, and that's another neutral farm that they've gotten on this left-hand side.
Meanwhile, Firebrand's about to spawn right here. Looks like April and Kalino are going to be maintaining pressure over that. Benko's not going to fight that alone, so Brand's easily going the way of Kalino. Head back to lane, farm up a little bit. And like we talked about, it's a slow, methodical farming game. A little aggressive in duo, but no first blood spill just yet.
No, and already that Jingwei beads are about to be back up here in 14 seconds or so. But April here has teleported on over, likely to defend this purple buff, and you see Genetics kind of aware that something might be up, and the dual lane does make the call to back away to safety. A nice little move from April to rotate to this left-hand side, knowing that Genetics and Coast have so much pressure over here. But actually, April might be looking for an innovate of his own here.
He does have ult online. This could be a big thing. Bramblast finds a root, and then following through with damage from Talao was sold, and autos from Zuwa gets Coast extremely low, but not quite dead. I didn't see who the purple went to there, but I mean, an invade to put Coast back that low, send him back to base to heal up, and he's going to miss a tad bit of XP, it looks like.
Genetics is just going to poke them down there. But I do think Coast got that purple buff, if I'm not mistaken, standing tall in that moment. No, actually, it was invaded successfully. So a good invade from the side of Hyped Up Gaming Org. And April immediately goes back to secure their own purple buff as well, and just continuing to accelerate their farm as quickly as possible. Level 6 for both junglers. So Pasha is still keeping on pace here with April, despite a successful invade for the Cernados. And he's already on the way back here.
I mean, they really want to shut down this duo lane. I don't blame them, because right now that looks like the most aggressive part of the map. Genetics and Coast have just been really putting the pressure on Ralak and Zuwa. So I recommend, yeah, definitely trying to shut them down early, but not going to be able to find anything here. We've seen a lot of early aggression so far from April, who's been over in duo quite some times. When do you think we start seeing more Pasha in the ganking?
I'm not entirely certain just yet. I think it's going to depend on where Pasha decides to play, because already April has spent so much time here on the left-hand side. Maybe on the right-hand side, as we do see Pasha and Sap7 on the way, trying to catch out Klino.
Fighting for Firebrands once more, but Klino maintaining pressure around them. The numbers game favoring Hyped Up Gaming Org right here. Hyper Beam lands through, but Aegis used in response. Chiron down to half health, but Centaurus Snipes will take down April. That's first blood for Smoke Break. And Banco putting the pressure onto Klino, who's trying to run away. Is debuffed right now, trying to get back to the safety of the tier 1 tower. Pasha not feeling the chase. Instead, we'll go for the Brands, which I think is a much higher reward on top of the first blood for Smoke Break.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was a cute little look there from April. Blinks in, finds the root, the ultimate on top, blocks with the raw ultimate as well. But all of that damage just immuned in a moment from Sap7 with the Aegis. And just the execution play just doesn't work out simply because of the relic.
Oh, Stygian Torment, followed by the jump, will bring blocks quite back, but not a lot of response from Sap there. And instead, Sap's in a whole heap of trouble. He's going to have to giddy up on out of there towards the Firebrand. Genetics down to half health, as well as 3 members of Hyped Up in mid lane. Everybody's half health right now, so there is a decent amount of kill potential, but Hyped Up are going to retreat back to their jungle, and Genetics sticking around for when that beacon goes online. Yeah,
again, the beacon going to be up in 1 minute's time here, but they do have an opportunity to look for these little, shards around the map, get some of those, that progress there to finishing up that bar in the Moonlight phase. And yeah, just that relic pickup from Sap7 already paying dividends there. And, we talk about it previously, what is the relic choices? Why do you want to go beads over Aegis? It makes sense here for Sap7 as well as Coast to go towards that Aegis. There's not a ton of hard crowd control that really is easy to access. RDO really has to be in your face to get that stun and cripple field off. Guan Yu has to commit the ultimate for the stun. April has a root. Polymorph CC, sure, it slows, but outside of that, it's outside of April's too, it's really not a ton of ease of access CC that the side of Smokebreak want to be immuning.
Right, I'm much more worried about their damage. Speaking of damage, 4 members make their way towards mid lane looking for Sap 7's head, but won't be able to get within distance as the beacon's on the line. Smokebreak maintain control, but there are 3 members of Hyped Up just waiting for an opportunity to bring it to them. And look around the corners, Pasha still. Stygian Torment does find a knockup, but B's utilized by Blocks to make sure that he doesn't get pulled there. And still fighting over the beacon. Looks like Smokebreak are going to remain in control for a moment.
Yeah, Hyped Up, they don't really have a way in here. They just don't have a way to get past Genetics. Even with his ultimate down, he still does a good, decent amount of damage as well as shredding those protections. And so there's not a lot Hyped Up Gaming Org can do here to really step on forward. You can see April on this right-hand side looking for a potential angle. Instead, he's just going to try and secure the buff, but dashes forward aggressively.
No way. The Kraken utilized, and April goes down to the blink of an eye. Blink and you'll miss it. Paralyzing Spit gets a stun onto Guan Yu, but he's not going to get focused down. We put everything onto April to knock him off the map, and that is a huge kill going their way, as well as the beacon resulting in the favor of Smokebreak, able to pick up the Moonlight Ritual, and the Firebrand's going towards Banco on the right side during that whole exchange. There is so much objective-wise going in favor of Smokebreak. A 2K gold lead might not be too much here at the 8-minute mark, but it is worth noting that the snowball is slowly but surely going their way. We talked about this multiple times. They're a slow, methodical, playstyle-based team, and that's exactly what they're doing. A little by little, things are going their way.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised Hyped Up just kind of, stand there and watch Smokebreak really take those shards in the mid lane. There's not a lot that Hyped Up can really do about it, but why not just walk to a side lane, secure yourself some more farm elsewhere on the map. You saw there, April tried to secure some neutral farm right in front of the faces of Smokebreak's members and just pays for it with his life as Genetics is here.
Oh, Pasha's here as well. Maybe they pushed Hyped Up under their tower and then make their way towards Gold Fury. Now's the time. Utilized from Ralok to lock down Coast, but not a lot of follow-up damage from Zuwa. Stygian Torment finds a knock-up on Guan Yu. He's put back in the lane, not able to get to the tower, but through a 2, gets somewhat safe, but Desert Fury from the Kraken as well. So much damage putting onto Ralok, but not able to find the kill. Genetics dive deep as well, but the snipes from Centaurus all the way from the jungle. The snipes from Centaurus will take down Ralop. Sap 7 is in a bit of trouble, but Genetics is here as well. A great shield is going to lock Sap 7 in place. Coast is getting kills on April. Sap 7 in trouble as well. He's getting dove on by Kalino, and through the 3, Sap 7 dies to Kalino. Looks like they did lose 1, but killed 2 in the process as Smokebreak march their way towards the purple buff and take that for themselves. Gold Fury might not be the move because the numbers game is still quite even. Genetics is getting slowed down, jumps over the wall for safety, and Smokebreak can't find too much more than this. At least try and grab their purple buff before they leave. Pasha's able to secure that, and not that much that Hype can really get off that.
I feel like Hype should pull the Gold Fury here with Smokebreak having to back off, though Pasha having access to that ultimate means they likely won't go towards it. Look at Benko on the right-hand side, invaded the entire jungle of Hyped Up Gaming Org. No farm going to be available to April in terms of those back camps. Red buff thankfully wasn't on the map, so Benko wasn't able to take that one away, or the blue buff, but still securing those back harpies, securing the neutral farm a little bit on the right-hand side. This Amaterasu has a 2-level lead now and is slowly starting to snowball here just by farming, honestly. Klino has rotated to, the left-hand side now, has rotated into fights around mid here and there, but Banko on the right-hand side has just continued to farm it out, and that's what he wants to do on this Amaterasu pick.
Around Gold Fury lie 2 members of Hyped Up. Genetics caught the scent and put a ward down to make sure that they don't get anything free. Sap 7 has 3 members of Hyped Up looking for him. Blink and Bramble Blast, but he missed the Bramble Roots, so not a lot gonna happen from Sap 7. I mean, that was just an unfortunate miss, honestly. I think that he might be dead right here regardless. Klino rotating over as well, but you've got to stay in solo. You've already mentioned it, Book, that he's down 2 levels. I think you got to do something about it, but maybe find a kill could be a good answer here. Klino goes back to solo, and Genetics hits a massive 2-man knockup. Hyper Beam doesn't connect, but still pretty scary to look at. That was a warning shot for now.
Yeah, for sure. That Book of Thoth still being stacked up here, so Blocks once they got that stacked up and another item or two, and that ultimate's going to hit a whole lot harder. But Smoke Break, they're going to be the ones to pull the Gold Fury. It doesn't seem like Hyped Up, if they're aware of it, they don't seem interested in contesting it.
Right, Smoke Break's the one that has it warded, not Hyped Up, so they don't even know what's going down, and it's going to go the way of Smoke Break scotch-free. The first Gold Fury of the game going their way, as yet again the snowball is developing. 5K gold lead at 12.5 minutes, and Smoke Break looking pretty dominant right now.
Yeah, I mean, 5K at 12 minutes, you got to be feeling pretty good if you're Smoke Break, and it really hasn't been a ton of action. We've seen small scrapping in the early game, April getting caught twice. Now 0-3 on the Cernanos. This pick just has not worked so far as Clino looking to contest these Firebrands, but they can't.
3-on-3 here in the Firebrand pit. Make it 4 as Pasha shows up. The Kraken knocks up the mix-up, folks, but I mean, I guess Smoke Break weren't taking any breaks during our downtime because they just wiped off 3 members of Hyped Up off the map. Make it 4 as SAP7 hits massive Centaurus snipes on the Block's head top, and they're going to make their way towards Gold Fury to get their second one of the game here at the 17-minute mark. Smoke Break continuing to dominate with an 11K gold lead. We've been gone for, what, 3 minutes, and they just stopped. They haven't stopped just destroying this team.
I mean, April, man, just goes in, tries to find SAP7. Again, SAP7 aces so hard there for April's ultimate that just takes no damage in that moment, and the game broke. I mean, that's how criminal that play was from Hyped Up Gaming there to try and make that play happen again. I mean, this is what they've tried. It feels like they're just ramming their heads against the wall, just trying to make the same play happen over and over and over again. April finds the root, tries to throw the ultimate on top of it, and SAP7 pushes one button and all the damage following up afterwards is immune. So it is tough here for the likes of Hyped Up Gaming and doing what they want to do here.
Tough to say the least. I mean, I don't even know how to what else to call it. It has been a rough day for Hyped Up Gaming Org. Not going to say that they're out of the game entirely, but Smoke Break definitely in control so far. Fire Giant being burned away slowly but surely. Clino's aware, but doesn't have much steal potential, maybe through Lifebinder or an Astray ability. But instead, Genetics turning face entirely towards Clino. Doesn't hit the paralyzing spit, but maybe a pillar blocks him off. Mako on the chase still. Smoke Break decided to drop the FG entirely and kill Clino instead. Thirsty for blood. Maybe not a Fire Giant's, but Clino's will suffice. And maybe SAP7 gets some damage through Centaurus. Oh my god, the damage followed by masterful shot. Genetics wipes off blocks, and Pasha takes down a Ralak as well. 3 members dead for Hyped Up Gaming Org. Genetics wants to make it 4. Jingwei goes into the air. April in a corner with Pasha. You're stuck here with me, big dog. The fire breath from Genetics is too much for Zawa to handle. Pasha kills 1 and looks like SAP7 kills the last. That's a deicide for Smoke Break. We don't even care about the Fire Giant anymore. We're going straight for the right side bird. Clino has just respawned, but not much he can do but watch as his Titan room slowly gets broken down.
Man, I've missed watching Chiron ultimates like that, where just from a distance, so much damage in the small corridor. SAP7 doing so much work on this pick so far. Again, I just love this character. So fun. The artillery mage in the form of a hunter, it just hits a little bit different when you're shooting these big giant arrows at people from a distance. A nice little play there. It feels like Hyped Up Gaming Org, they are just too far behind in this game to really make an impact or even look for plays. Now down a ton of gold, well past 10K at this point. And it feels like Smoke Break, it's just a matter of time before they can look towards this Fire Giant and take it and then look to run it down a lane with right-hand side Phoenix being down. That likely could be the target if they wipe out a few members. Speaking of a few members, April trying to take a 1v1, but you don't want this smoke against Benko.
In big trouble, especially because Genetics is around the corner. Stampede utilized, followed by the ghastly breath will melt April's health bar like hot butter on a stovetop. Another dead god lies in solo lane. Fire Giant being looked at by a couple members of Smoke Break, and the burn begins here. Nobody from Gaming Org is even somewhat nearby. We're still farming on the other side of the map. Benko goes to save the mid lane tower as the rest of Smoke Break burn the FG, and down it goes, dagger in hand for Pasha. I mean, I don't even know how you stop Smoke Break at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you can. I think they've just done such a good job of utilizing their early game pressure. You know, the power that Chiron brings in the mid lane, just so much pressure. This dual lane has so much pressure, and Vaporish Coast exerting that pressure here onto blocks and finds himself his 4th kill this game. This on her pick, man. He's showing it exactly why it was first picked.
Nasty pillar pin. Oh, Scepter's out. How can Genetics follow up? A huge blink forward. Looks like April wants this fight, but he can't handle it. Sap7 takes his head off. Sap7 diving in. Jingwei goes into the air and gonna land back down and probably fall. Genetics waiting on abilities, but pinned to the side. Will put out a lot of damage. Masterful shot takes down Zuwa. It looks like Klino's finally here to maybe apply some pressure, but he's getting killed quite quickly as well. And this bird is going to be the prio. Genetics and Coast are diving into the tower. Sap7 with another masterful shot cleans up one more member of Hyped Up, and down goes the second bird in Hyped Up's Titan room. There is still a tier 2 up on left side, but I don't think that's going to stop them from going from the Titan. 3 members of Hyped Up looking to defend it. Maybe their last opportunity at a defense, but Smoke Break wants the smoke. Wow. There is no breaks from the smoke. Another 2 kills before they end the game here. Smoke Break emerge victorious in game 1.
Yeah, Smoke Break showing why they're one of the teams to beat. They're just going to continue to farm up damage. Pat the stats here. Finds Zoa in the fountain there, and finally ends the game, killing the Titan. Smoke Break, man, they look scary here.
Wow. I mean, that last little bit, I called that they won the game, but they weren't even focusing the Titan. They were just playing with their food. What looked like a once-even matchup quite early on turned out to be an absolute stomp. Shout out to Smoke Break for putting on a clinic. We were going to go take a quick break. We'll be back in just a few moments. Hello, everybody, and welcome back, everybody, to Smite Prime. We're back with our EU Conquest tournament. We just had an amazing game 1 to watch. My name's Morty. I'm joined by the whole Smite Prime crew, Jithens, Rosie, Testai, and Book with me here as well. And Book, you saw that game right next to me. I mean, that was an incredible watch.
Yeah, that was a pretty, slow, methodical early game, kind of like we talked about a little bit, but slowly started to get the ball rolling. Smoke Break. Off of a great draft. To me, it's just the Cernos, man. The Cernos just did not work in the jungle. Yeah, it went for the aspect. Yeah, it brought good damage, but all that damage got immune by just Aegis. It's a tough one to look at for sure.
Well, maybe not have worked out for them, but what did work out is Smoke Break in its entirety. We've got some replays to look at there. I mean, look at the Centaurus snipes. The Centaurus snipes from Sap7 are what held this thing together. And one thing we didn't even get to talk about comp-wise is how Coast can use Enfeeble to melt their Fizz prots. Sap7 does more damage automatically. Sap7 was in a bit of trouble here, but I think he's going to get cleaned up by Klino, and that's the only kill Hyped Up will get for this entire game.
Yeah, for sure. It's the only one they get this game, and again, Smoke Break just did such a great job of exerting that early game pressure. It's actually super exciting to see because both ADCs, Sap7 is technically an ADC, sure, but going to be playing in the mid lane, went towards Oathsworn. Both of them are physical damage dealers. And so both of them utilize this item very well, not only for themselves, but for each other. They're just both able to shred so many protections on her as well, shredding so many protections. It just makes the game so much easier to play as ADCs and as hunters who can, deal damage from a distance. It just makes the game so much easier when they work together and really focus one target down. I thought they played very well in tandem, Sap7 and Vaporish Coast. And look at that damage there. It's Pasha actually at the top of the player damage charts who did such a good job of rotating around the map, exerting pressure here and there, using those Whirlpool Kraken combos to punish the side of Hype Up Gaming Org, who had to go towards the beats.
Well, that wasn't the only game that was played. We've got a bracket to look at to see who has made it one step farther up the ladder. And a couple of names that I was looking for. I mean, Witchcraft, Ratcatchers, that's going to be a hell of a game. Smoke Break, obviously, we just saw making their way up. As Guardian Warriors down there at the bottom. And I Wish for Wealth and Rub My Belly, which has a lot of players that we're familiar with.
Yeah, for sure. Do you want to give a shout out to Clown Fiesta as well, who also won their first matchup? And remember, the team to watch, in my opinion. Still waiting on that Benevolence and Bad Team matchup there, which is still taking place. But Yeah, I mean, Witchcraft versus Ratcatchers, that's the one to watch. I Wish for Wealth and Rub My Belly as well. I feel like those are going to be the important matchups of teams we could see face each other in the semifinals as we go further and further through the bracket here. Yeah, I mean, this is it's shaping out to be a pretty good bracket so far here, Mort.
It is going to be a fun day of Smite. I mean, we started off with a bit of a whooping for sure, but I mean, I can tell those are some newer players that they're trying to bring it to Season 9 MVP World Champion genetics. You know what I mean? Like that's a tough job in itself. Not to mention everybody else on that team, Pasha, Vaporish Coast. I mean, there are some big names over there. I understand how that's going to be a bit of a hard matchup, but as we make our way down, I mean, we're going to start seeing some more players that have been around the block for a minute, and it's not going to be as easy as it just looked from Smoke Break. I mean, these are going to be some tighter games as we go farther and farther down the bracket. So I'm excited to see how some of these big names go head-to-head later on towards the quarters, the semifinals, and especially the finals.
Yeah, I know there's been a lot of talk between Zap and Genetics here about these two players and these two teams and, who's better and who's not.
Well, we'll see who makes our way into the finals as we get farther down the bracket with our next game. Picks and bans are ready for us as we got two big names to look at. I Wish for Wealth and Rub My Belly. John Rowing is back. That's one of my favorite solos, and Cherry is too. So I want all eyes, Rosie. You hear me? All eyes on Soul Lane for 20 minutes. No, I'm just kidding. That'd be boring. But I do want to see them go head-to-head quite a bit.
I mean, sometimes it's boring, sometimes it's not. Cherry always finds a way to make Soul Lane a little bit spicy over there. We think of the Anubis picks, the Cuckoo Khan picks that they bring out in the Soul Lane. Sometimes the Gebs, as of late over there for I Wish for Wealth. But instead, it's going to be kind of a new roster here for this team. Benny Q and Cherry, old teammates on that 5Ms roster, but now pairing up alongside Aurora, who's not going to be working with Donut Doug. Instead, it's Kaveka this week in the ADC role, and then Valo in the jungle. So this is kind of a mishmash of a few of the top teams here for this roster. Excited to see how they work together.
I feel like there's a conversation that there's had quite often about some of the best carries, right, that participated in Smite Prime. I feel like Donut Doug is up there. There's definitely some big names, and I feel like Kaveka's consistently left a little bit lower. I've always been a big Kaveka believer. You can go back to like July VODs of Smite Prime, and I'm still talking about Kaveka. I think Kaveka's low-key a sleeper, and a big part of this I Wish for Wealth team. Yeah, I mean, Benny Q, MVP for the Founder Series Finals. Obviously the GOAT, right? Valo's been around for a minute. Aurora is a super handy sport to have around, and Cherry's a very prominent soul laner that always throws a wrench at your plans. You talked about that a little bit ago, that Cherry just has these weird God pool picks that, like, how is this working? Why am I down 3 kills? Cherry just throws curveballs at you, but one that doesn't look like a curveball to me is this Thor pick for Rub My Belly.
Yeah, I got to imagine this is probably going towards John Rowing in the Soul Lane. I mean, it could flex to Snicks over in the jungle as well. I feel like both these two players love this pick, but to me, I feel like it's been John Rowing who traditionally has gone towards this Thor Soul Lane pick and just been, aggressive, pushing out on the right-hand side, the Soul Lane, and then rotating on over early to objective fights to impact those fights. Against this I Wish for Wealth team, I do feel like Rub My Belly are the underdogs here. So excited to see what they decide to draft, what they decide to prioritize. This Thor first tells me it has to be a flex potential. What do they pair alongside this global pressure, though?
Yeah, because Rowing can play Thor, Snakes can play Thor. We even saw Inbound play a little bit of Thor support during last year's Prime tournament, so it is a possibility. But what I do want to highlight is how Disco can also be a bit of a flex pick. I mean, not only can she go to Benny Q in the mid lane, but her aspect lets her play as more of a carry. I know there are some carries like Donut Doug that are big Disco aspect believers, and maybe Kaveka is as well. I haven't seen Kaveka talk on this too much. I mean, I know Kaveka's pretty active on Twitter, but haven't seen them talk about this Disco aspect too much, so that could be a bit of a sleeper pick. Or ESET, and ESET, obviously you could play that in mid with Benny, you could play that in support with Aurora, but I have seen some Twitch streams I pop in where Cherry's playing the game, he's playing ESET solo, so I don't even know what to expect from Wish for Wealth so far. Chiron joining the battle along with Sylvanas to Rub My Belly. That looks like a lot of crowd control and a lot of damage.
Yeah, a lot of damage as well as ease of access of CC. Thorwall to set up for the Chiron damage immediately following up that. I feel like this Rub My Belly top 3 is disgusting, if I'm being completely honest. So much AoE damage, so much AoE space control with the Sylvanas, the Thor, even the Chiron as well. And versus this I Wish for Wealth team, yeah, Discordia is great. Yeah, ESET's pretty decent as well. Probably going to the support role, I would imagine, though, I mean, could go anywhere. Cherry's playing and Aurora's playing as well. But I feel like in comparison, like, why not Chiron? Chiron is so strong right now. We kind of just saw it in the last game. He's just free mid pressure, can make an impact early on, builds the Oathsworn Spear really well, sets up for the ADC if you decide to go for a double Hunter comp. Again, I'm just a little surprised by this top 2, and then I see Rub My Belly in their top 3, and I'm saying, well, I feel like you probably gave something you shouldn't have. And again, just looking at this Rub My Belly composition, it's looking pretty spooky here. Hecate, Daji rounding out the composition, more CC and more damage condensed into this roster.
I think there's so much burst damage on the side of Rub My Belly. Yeah. And depending on how Rex is going to build this Chiron, the only issue could be DPS when it comes to burning down Gold Fury, Fire Giant, any big objectives. If maybe we see a build similar to what we saw from last game, mid lane Chiron, it might be a little bit harder, but Chiron does have +1s that let him favor either the damage burst build or the DPS build. You get enough attack speed and you're going to have the flurry of arrows from Masterful Shot that proc on hit items. So I don't know. I mean, it's a very big possibility that we see just DPS Chiron really hammer out damage almost the same way that we saw from SAP 7 last game, but we won't know until we get in the game. So let's go ahead and dive into the game. Game 2 of the day, Rub My Belly up against I Wish for Wealth. And I'm excited to see how this one goes down. Let's take a look, folks.
Yeah, for sure. Excited to see where everything slots in. And so, yeah, it is going to be John Rowling rocking the Thor in the solo lane. No real surprise there. You kind of touched on a little bit the objective shred potential or lack thereof. But do you want to give credit to this Hecate pick here in that the Hecate blue stance on the 1 does allow the team to have a little bit more objective shred potential for their team. So it's not, all doom and gloom, I think, if Rex does decide to lean more a little towards the full strength side of things versus some of the basic attack power. Wow, okay. It's one of those days. It's too early in the morning for us, Mort, to be saying all these fancy words, but I mean, yeah, I'm kind of excited to see that. Cross the way, though, I mean, we haven't even gotten a chance to touch on it. It was Baron 10th overall here for Aurora, and you called it. It's the ESET in the soul lane for Cherio.
I mean, I don't know. I honestly wasn't sure if this was like a ranked pick, like, oh, I'm Cherry, I want to carry my ranked games, I'm going to play ESET. But no, this is like a competitive thing that Cherry's very confident in as well. So seeing how this goes down in solo, John Rowing with the aspect of Thunderstruck on Thor will let him heal up a little bit and have decent sustain, but it's going to be hard with that 2-1 combo to even get some damage onto Cherry because Cherry's got heals as well, especially through Circle of Protections. I mean, killing Cherry is going to be a hard task. We see some basics being exchanged here in the mid. I'm wondering where we maybe see first blood potential at here, Book.
I got to imagine it's somewhere centered around where Valo decides to put pressure. Could look towards ganking this left-hand side. The Sylvanas always going to be a prime target here of the side of I Wish for Wealth. They're going to be prioritizing the characters with no mobility, maybe even Dest in the mid lane, who isn't going to have a ton of mobility until having level 5 and having access to that ultimate, using the Open the Gates to teleport on to safety. His left-hand side, a little bit of potential scrapping, but no, just nothing lands on the side of I Wish for Wealth. And still, this Chiron exerting pressure over here on the left-hand side. This character is just free pressure, whether it's in mid, whether it's in duo lane. So much pressure from this character, and there's not a lot I Wish for Wealth can do about it. They're just going to have to spend a lot of this early game, I think, farming it out.
One pick that we didn't get to see a lot of Prime with last year was the Sylvanas. He's a relatively new guy to Smite 2. He was around towards the end, but I mean, he's one of my favorite supports. He's an actual playmaker. Yes. He's able to grab gods, knock them up from there, or root them in place, or both. And I mean, there's just, when you think you're in a somewhat safe position, next thing you know, you're pulled and you're just taken care of, right? Especially with the damage that Chiron, how you mentioned, can put out. I think it could be bad news at any point in time for squishier supports like Baron. I mean, Aurora is definitely prominent with the Baron pick, but still, you've got to be careful.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. I also want to give shout out to this dodgy pick as well that SNIXJ has gone for. Not a ton of, well, some CC Immune ultimates available on the side of I Wish for Wealth, but it has forced I Wish for Wealth to go towards these beads that they've all picked up, except for Aurora, who's gone towards the shell. 4 beads. Even Cherry has one in the soul lane, who's going to be a little, I would imagine, a little tankier if they decide to go towards, you know, some int hybrid items over here in the soul lane. But it's Cherio. Who knows? He could just go full blaster damage and still make it work. But again, forced to go this relic. So what's the immediate answer? Okay, our Chiron is going to have a ton of damage, likely going to lean towards a full strength build, which means his ultimate, the Centaurus, is going to do so much damage. Even the Hecate can do a good decent amount of damage. So I really want to see Rub My Belly prioritize punishing these characters for not going towards an Aegis.
One thing that's having me scratching my noggin that you brought up is whether this could be a glass cannon Cherry build, or if he's going to have a little bit of damage. As Snix is around the corner, maybe looking for a first blood on Benny, but instead we're just going to help out with the wave clear, maybe head towards Firebrands after. Those have just spawned 5 seconds ago, but Valo and Cherry are going to beat Rub My Belly to the punch and start the burn on the Firebrands, and they clear it with extreme ease. I mean, the jungle starter from Valo is going to let the Firebrands fall at immediate time, so it is a little unfortunate for Rub My Belly, but Wish for Wealth being very prompt on the gun there.
Yeah, for sure. And it comes off of the back of Valo ganking this right-hand side. And the gank isn't there to, you know, really kill John Rowing. There wasn't really an opportunity. Thor is so safe on this right-hand side. The play is there just for pressure. Allow Cherry to rotate first over to these Firebrands. Des, again, doesn't have the best clear in this early game on the Hecate. Has to get a couple of levels, an item or two, and then can really start to pressure out this mid lane effectively. But for now, it's just going to be, okay, we're always moving second. We're always going to be there late to the objective. So I need some help from my jungler, who also wants to spend a bit of time farming. This Daji wants to hit level 5 first and then also get a couple more levels to really be effective with this damage. Wants a couple of items, some CDR in the build before they can really start to make an impact in these fights, as well as just objective and map play potential. But so far it has been a slow early game, and to me that favors Rub My Belly.
Golden Apple right onto the head top of Des, but doesn't do too much damage. That's a quick 200. That's potent damage, and I'm sure it'll come back online sooner than later, so we're not too worried about losing that ult right now. Not too much to fight over. Gold Fury hasn't even spawned yet. Firebrands are going to be a hot minute as well, so I don't mind throwing that out for potent damage, as 3 members of Wish for Wealth are here next to middle lane, and Snix isn't even nearby. I'm wondering if there's maybe some kill potential. J-Reg's a bit far too up. Spirit Arrow doesn't land. Oh, it did land, followed by the wrap it up. Sill's forced to use the knockup. In goes Rex as well. Looks like J-Reg just got picked up. A chop goes right onto the tree bark of Sylv, and maybe we're looking for a revenge kill. In goes Snix. He goes into the air. Palau picks up Aurora, looking for another, but the beads are utilized to make sure that Valo doesn't get picked away. Giddy Up hits a massive knockback, followed by the masterful shot, and Valo's down to 10 health, and the fiery claws from SNIXJ will take down Valo as well. 2-for-1 exchange in duo, and Rub My Belly emerges victorious on 9.
That is criminal that Rex gets away with that crazy of a dash. You know, dashing into 3 members there as a Chiron. It looks pretty spooky there, but he gets away with it, and using that passive effectively there, just spamming abilities, going to be slowly healing up a little bit here and there. Gets a good bit of HP back before leaving that fight entirely. So, I mean, just a good little play. 2 kills going towards SNIXJ, and honestly, Snix always, to me, has been that true carry jungler. Not so much of a setup player. Really just wants to get the ball rolling, snowball effectively, and just try and carry a game outright. And so far, he's put himself in a good position to do exactly that.
Rather slow start still, but that little exchange was pretty fun to watch. And even though Wish for Wealth are down 1 kill, they're still ahead in gold somewhat. It's honestly a negligible amount. I mean, this is just an even game, neck and neck. And they've got a huge gold lead.
Yeah. that number 8, man. Oh, now it's 176. It's getting out of control, man.
73. We're getting back in control now. It's definitely a neck and neck game so far, and I can't wait to see how these objective fights go, because we haven't seen a lot of actual fights for objectives yet. I mean, Firebrands, we saw a bit of pressure here and there, but nothing too crazy just yet. Valo walking over towards the duo side. Rub My Belly duo lane in the bush, maybe looking to steal away this purple, but not able to get there in time. A great pull from Sylv, gets Aurora out of position, down to half health. Life of the party utilized, and just trying to use the CC immunity, but into the air goes Snicks, and Palau utilized. Valos here as well, and J-Reg gets taken down. Rex is trying to put on any little bit of damage before he leaves through the giddy up, but won't be getting away from Kveka. A huge kill, another going the way of Wish for Wealth, and Snicks is down to 50. Speed buff used from the 3 will get Snicks to safety, but Valo's not giving up on the chase. Unchained, followed by Brutalize, will get another kill for Wish for Wealth. And Wealth is what they're going to be getting after getting those 3 kills and a Gold Fury, the first of their game. I mean, they're getting the wealth they wish for. Look at the gold lead that just developed to 3K in the blink of an eye.
Nice attempt at a backflip from Kveka. No, for sure, a crazy gold lead. And honestly, Rub My Belly do exactly what just happened to them. You know, so much damage committed to the support in particular. You know, trying to kill off Aurora in that moment, that Valo and Kveka just go untouched entirely. They get to do whatever they want in that team fight. And yeah, Aurora dies, sure, but 3 members on the side of Rub My Belly die immediately afterwards. And so unfortunate for them, a big boon pickup there for I Wish for Wealth. So much gold going towards them, as well as some important kills going towards this Neath ADC. We haven't gotten the chance to touch on it, but Aspect Neath going towards more of a strength auto attack build, more than likely. Just wants to hit really hard with these auto attacks, but also with the abilities with this Transcendence pickup that they've gone for.
9 minutes into the game, the gold lead 3K in favor for Wish for Wealth, and 1 kill as well. The Gold Fury token is going to be a little bit helpful as the game goes on, should they continue dominance over the Gold Furies, but still a neck and neck game. This is the first time that we've seen a little bit of a lead develop, but Snick's looking for revenge over here in solo, as well as 2 members here in mid lane, looking to take down this tier 1 tower. 3 members as Aurora goes forward. Life of the party utilized. Des is getting pulled away, followed by a root from Benny, and down a lot of health. Golden Apple hits the head top of Des, another good amount of damage, but Des goes down to 150 and having to back up from there. I don't know if J-Reg saves this tower because it took a lot of damage during that push, but hasn't fallen just yet.
Snicks is on the way, so the tower should be okay, I would imagine, as well as Des teleporting on back to the mid lane. Tower is okay, but it's you know, pretty much one shot. Someone should walk up and just tap it and it will fall down. So not going to be able to be a good safety net for the mid laner of Rub My Belly. They're just going to have to just try and keep the gold away from I Wish for Wealth as much as possible, as Cherry is getting ganked here.
Big knockup from Syl, followed by a grab. Cherry's getting pulled around into the air. Rowing goes. Where will he land? Probably back on Cherry. Yep, but did miss the stun, missed the tectonic rift as well, but that's okay. The rest of your friends have it covered. Down goes Cherry, and another Rub My Belly kill going their way. It's trying to even out the odds. I don't think that John Rowan got Firebrands, but I think a kill is nice at least.
Yeah, for sure. Nice little pickup there. And it goes towards Dest, who is in a pretty good position now, has 2 items, you know, the Chronos Pendant and the Book of Thoth, wants to spend a bit of time now, I feel like, scrapping, because the damage, obviously, that you give towards enemy gods will stack up your Book of Thoth way quicker than just hitting a couple of minions, as this pro buff is being invaded on the left-hand side. There's not a whole lot Rub My Belly can do about it. This Fenrir pick is starting to get a little out of control here for Valo, who also has 2 items, the Brawler's Beast Stick and the Golden Blade picked up here.
3-on-3. Valo's looking at the Oracles, though, as both duo members from each team are back in duo. Valo gets control of the Oracles. Gold Fury's about to respawn, so that's an important site to have your vision on. I mean, Wish for Wealth are doing a great job. This is much more of an even game than I thought this was going to go down. I mean, you see some big dogs on the side of Wish for Wealth, and you think, man, I mean, they're going to be just putting on a clinic here, but Rub My Belly really just, you know, giving it back to him.
Yeah, they got to find more, you know, outright wins, though. Like, the left-hand side play was really good earlier, where they went in, took the team fight, came out with ahead of it, but immediately after they give it away by giving 3 members and then a Gold Fury as well. Dest.
Life of the party utilized, followed by the golden apple, but using the teleporter. Wait a minute, Aurora got pulled too. One basic attack finished off Dest, and a great Ragnarok will put J-Reg in a really bad spot. Able to use Cersei's to escape. That's a huge item pickup. I didn't even know about that one. J-Reg's A-OK thanks to that. Now hiding under the safety of the tier 1 tower. Not that it has too much health, but I don't think Wish for Wealth even care about that tower. All 5 members of Wish for Wealth are going towards the Gold Fury. How do they steal this?
It's got to be Rex. Rex has got to try and steal this with his ultimate, but I don't know if he can.
2,000 health. Woo! A snipe worked out. A snipe worked their way. Bang! Rexador just stole the Gold Fury.
Rex, a nice play for his team. Keeps the gold around even. It doesn't get any bigger than that. Around 3,000. But now he has to be a little bit careful about taking this trade here, but actually is getting the better end of it against Kaveka.
The minions aren't working in his way. Kaveka backflips forward, but look who's around the corner. Snicks dives in. No backflip to utilize. Snicks is going to mop the floor with Kaveka's blood. Snicks picks up another. It's a shame. Wait a minute. Rowing's in big trouble, but a tectonic rift followed by the hammer will get Rowing to safety. Nothing but dubs across the entire battleground for Rub My Belly.
3,000 cut down to 2,000 gold lead for I Wish for Wealth. And all of a sudden, Rub My Belly, they're starting to find small victories across the map. Again, that Gold Fury pickup was huge for Rub My Belly, but Rex could give up his life here on the left-hand side because Benny Q has arrived.
Giddy up, but dashing forward, Disco doesn't land the golden apple, though. It was close, but not quite there. Oh, the stun landed. You used the 1 too early. Rexador bit the bullet a tad bit too early. Didn't get to CC immune. The stun from Neathold, and down he fell to the 1 from Benny. That's just a shame. And into the air John goes as the Pyromancer gets picked up by 3 members of Rub My Belly. Force Valo to use Unchained over the wall and doesn't want a piece anymore. Now that a lot of bodies on top of the Pyro take that down, this gold lead still hasn't gone the way of Rub My Belly, but they've got a lot of objectives in recent time.
And they're just keeping it even around that 3,000 mark as Snicks dashes in an ultimate from J-Reg. They're looking for a roar.
Aurora, you're in big trouble, my man. You gotta get out of there. Down to 200. Open the gates, hits, but CC immunity from Life of the Party will get him in a better spot. But Valo getting yoinked by the Powwow. Ragnarok utilized in response, and J-Reg's now the 1 in a bad position. Great damage from Benny Q. Makes J-Reg say, oh goodness, this isn't working our way. Circle of protections from Cherry. Gets good damage, and the golden apple takes down Snicks once more. And here comes Kaveka, firing like a machine gun, holding onto the trigger and letting it fly. Down go 3 members of Rub My Belly. Wish for Wealth are marching down the middle lane.
Dest and Rex stand on top of each other, and you cannot do that against a Discordia. The 2 just does so much damage and keeps them in such a tight corridor against each other, and just so much damage from I Wish for Wealth on top of 2 members, 2 key target members, and immediately both of them lose their lives. Unfortunate for those 2, and yeah, all of a sudden the gold lead is starting to get a little out of control here. 6,000 all of a sudden for I Wish for Wealth.
You know what stands out to me here? Well, hold on. Let's go over this Moonlight Queen pickup. Down to 5,000. J-Reg is here. Down to 3,000. There's no way a Sylv steals this, right? Nah, he's not going to. He's going to play it smart, and that's probably the best way to do it. One thing that stands out to me here, Kaveka picked up Avatar's Parashu's second item, the most expensive item in the game, followed by Titan's Bane. Dude, that guy's gonna hurt.
This is some of the most expensive items in the game. You know, Transcendence, not the worst, but then Avatar's Parashu and then Titan's Bane, just so much gold between these 2 items in particular. As the apple lands on the desk here.
Okay, and it does a good amount of damage, but open the gates utilized for a portal. So Des looks okay right now. A great Mez will hold Valo in place. There's no way you're catching up to Des now, and followed by some heals from the Sylv 2. We'll make sure that Des is A-okay. But what we've got our eyes on is the Gold Fury that spawns in 5 seconds. Maybe we kill Snicks first. Into the air through Powwow. Ragnarok utilized in response. Snicks goes over the wall to get himself to safety, and Valo having to use his ult as well. Rex just got taken down by Kaveka into the air. John Rowing, where in the world did you come from? Tectonic Rift finds a stun, hammer out because he doesn't believe in the fight, and J-Reg having to use the Cersei's as well to make sure that he doesn't get picked off. So a lot invested into that skirmish means that the steal on this Gold Fury is going to be harder than ever. I mean, where in the world is Rex? He's dead. There's no steal potential.
Yeah, the saving grace last time around will not be here to try and steal away the Gold Fury. And so that one going the way of I Wish for Wealth. And I am incredibly curious. I would love to ask, did you, accidentally back at a good time where you had 3,000 gold, or did you intentionally save up 3,000 gold to afford this Avatar's Parashu? Because it is a very expensive item, but if you can build it, it's well worth it. It is so much strength. It's a passive that amplifies your strength as well as giving you immune to displacement, which is huge on ADCs. Just not going to be able to get pulled by Snyx and the Sylvanas. So a nice little pickup there for the Neith, who is often so vulnerable. And speaking of vulnerable, Cherry going to take a spill to Snyx.
Cherry died. Snyx got the kill, and the Moonlight Queen going the way of Rub My Belly. The Fire Giant is now online and ready to be taken, and I think Rub My Belly as quickly as that's exactly what they're going to do. They're starting to burn. Rex is not there, so their DPS is going to be low, but maybe this is a bait. I think this is a bait play instead. Tectonic Rift followed by Open the Gates. Doesn't pull one, but Palau goes into the air. Des catching strays from Brutalize. Forced to use the portal to find some safety. Knock-up lands from J-Reg. And the portal again used from Snyx because they're halfway committed. Poke damage is being hit. I mean, definitely there's some lower health bars, but it looks like Rub My Belly might have been off a little bit more than they could chew. Life of the party pulls J-Reg into an unfortunate position, and Benny Q knocks the tree down. One kill going the way of Wish for Wealth, and Snyx marching his way towards mid lane to maybe stop the bird from falling. No way we go for bird here. That's an ambitious call. Doesn't find the stun through the 3, but Cherry's in a bit of a bad spot. In goes Snyx, looking to kill here. Circle of Protections won't save. It won't save Cherry, but able to kill Snyx in the process. And now the mid bird being looked at. Rex and Rowing are here to save the day. Dest as well, but the bird still getting looked at. Benny able to finally get a little bit of damage needed. Beads used to negate Ragnarok's crowd control. So Dest is A-OK. A lot invested into that push. Rowing's going into the air. Rowing once more. Rowing's going to land and stun 2. Beads utilized, though, to make sure they don't get locked down. And damage from Benny Q is too much to handle. Rowing wanted it, and he got it, but that's not how he wanted it to go down. Wish for Wealth just got a mid-bird. They got the tier 2, obviously, and a couple kills on top of that. Wish for Wealth are getting exactly what they want. A 9K gold lead at 20 minutes in, and Gold Fury about to respawn.
Yeah, this gold lead has officially gotten out of control here. I Wish for Wealth continuing to snowball off of these scrappy fights that just aren't going the way of Rub My Belly. I mean, it was a really cute look. Let's pull Fire Giant and bait them in, and we'll look for a play. John Rowing's got a perfect flank here onto the back line. He'll look for some poke and a play, as Benny Q should fall down here.
Allow utilize. Grab didn't pull, and it looks like that's going to be a bit of a hard pull, but off of the Palau, Snyx goes maybe a little bit too early because Fallow's going to clean up his health bar, and down goes the tree once more. Wish for Wealth just got 2 kills, and Pyromancer is about to respawn, but they're making their way towards the Fire Giant instead. This is yet again an ambitious call, but they've got the damage. Kaveka isn't around, but they're starting to burn regardless. Rowing is around the corner. The other 2 have Rub My Belly. Des and Rex are left lane, maybe looking for the tier 1 instead, and maybe Rowing can steal. I don't know if Rowing can steal. This is going to be a hard jump for him, but instead Wish for Wealth are going to turn face and go towards Rowing, but Rowing is just trying to distract and make sure they don't get fire, but nothing will stop them from getting it. Cherry secures it, and dagger in hand for Kaveka. This is bad news for Rub My Belly.
I Wish for Wealth, they did a good job there. They had to respect John Rowing, who has that Sunder pickup in the form of the item active mode. So he has that Sunder available to him, but it was down. Just I Wish for Wealth doing their homework, saying, look, he has this item. We have to be aware of it. We don't know if it's down or not. Pay respect to the Thor and secure the objective for free. And now they're just pushing this right-hand side. And Hecate and Chiron are on the left-hand side doing the Gold Fury. This bird is free.
This bird is free. That is true. John Rowan getting poked down. Golden Apple does massive damage. Before John Rowan can get into the air, Kaveka kills him one more time. J-Reg's in a bit of a bad spot as well. Open the gates, does pull a roar, but life at the party, that's exactly what it wanted. He's in prime time position. Powwow as Styx goes into the air, trying to pull a couple members of Wish for Wealth. A dagger utilized from Kaveka, but it was used a little bit too early. Masterful Shot does decent damage, but I don't know. I mean, Rub My Belly are still on their last leg, and Wish for Wealth got 2 birds. They got Fire Giant. They might have lost Gold Fury, but so much is in the favor of Wish for Wealth. I don't even know what Rub My Belly does here.
If this game is even, all of I Wish for Wealth die there. They all die, because that was a huge pull from Snyx J there. There's just no immediate follow-up off of the damage. There's not enough damage coming through from Des. There's not enough damage coming through from Rex outside of that ultimate, the Centaurus. So whenever those ults aren't being up, there's just no damage coming through onto the side of I Wish for Wealth, and they kind of just get to stand in front of them and do whatever they want.
22 minutes into the game, a 10k gold lead, Wish for Wealth, 2 Gold Fury tokens on each side. But Wish for Wealth are running these team fights. I think Rub My Belly just haven't been grouping as much, and Wish for Wealth have been deathballing around the map. Snyx is in trouble, slowed down by Brutalize, but a great root.
Oh, no.
Unchained stuns too. A massive stun from Unchained, followed by the Cherry stun as well. Rex is dead, Snyx is dead, and J-Reg might be next. No Cersei's to utilize, a knock-up and a dream, but keep dreaming, you're going to be sleeping for a minute. The bird goes down in mid lane. 2 down, 2 birds, and nothing but a Titan to defend you from losing this game. Rub My Belly on their last opportunity of a defense, rowing in the air and lands back down, but no stun found. The Titan will fall here, and Wish for Wealth will emerge victorious. We're going to take a break, and we'll be back at you. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Smite Prime, live here on Smite Prime and Smite Game with the 2026 kickoff EU Conquest Tournament. My name's Morty. I'm here with the whole Smite Prime crew. We've got Shithins, we've got Rosie, we've got Testai, and next to me here in the booth, we've got Spirited Book. What's going on, big dog?
Doing pretty good. How about yourself, Mort?
I am feeling fantastic. We're back with Smite Prime. It's been a long break. I've been gone for quite a bit, so to be back here in my chair talking about Smite with the Prime crew, it feels great. And we just watched a hell of a game between Rub My Belly and Wish for Wealth. A pretty darn close one for quite some time. About the first 15 minutes were pretty neck and neck. I mean, even early fights here by the purple buff. That when buffs are, this big of a deal, this just goes to show how objective based these teams are and how big things can get drawn. I don't want to say out of proportion, but everything is so meaningful,
For sure. And honestly, this play here around that enemy purple buff for Rub My Belly, I feel like that was the game-breaking play. Despite Rex finding this play, I feel like Rub My Belly never really could get back into the game themselves. They never really had a gold lead this entire game. It's just unfortunate that they went for that play and then focused so much on killing Aurora, which once again, stop focusing just the support. It's just a support. It's just a Baron Somebody. Focus the other people around him, especially Valo, who I think had such a good game. That 2-man madness from Benny Q was so good as well.
Yeah, Valo definitely did some big things throughout that game, and that's because, I feel like I've heard from some of the big dog junglers, Fenrir is not as strong, Fenrir is not as good. Valo says otherwise. Valo says, no, we love Fenrir around here. This is Fenrir country is what we call ourselves. Valo just put on 5, 1, and 7. And I'm about to see the damage done. I promise you it's going to be at least top 2. And I don't know, next to Kaveka it might be 2. But still, a lot of damage being put out from Valo. The Ragnarok ult just gave so much pressure. You're able to just grab people and pick them up like chess pieces and put them down wherever. All right, I might have been wrong.
You're not
still, but hey, he's cranking some numbers for a bit there.
I mean, Fenrir, one of those gods that just, wants to get the ball rolling and can do a really good job of snowballing that process. And that's kind of how Valo plays. Really wants to just kind of snowball early. The problem with Fenrir and why so many people are so critical of him is if you can't get that ball rolling, you can't snowball an early lead, you really struggle in the mid to late game. But that just never happened.
Well, let's see who else made their way up the bracket because we've got more games waiting for you. I mean, we're not even close to even halfway done today. We've got plenty, I guess about halfway, plenty more games on the way. And I mean, my eyes, we do have a pretty good banger matchup on the bottom with the Artemis Bow, but also Rat Catchers, Smoke Break. That looks like a game to me.
Yeah, Ratcatchers beating out Witchcraft, who were our North American champions from 2 weeks ago. So Witchcraft out, Ratcatchers on the way up, and that's going to be the adapting roster. And that's a spooky roster, man. I mean, streak up Dardes, who's back in the support role for the first time since season 5 of Smite 1. Theeks in the mid lane, Deduin over in the soul lane.
And not only are these, long-time experienced players when it comes to like SOC or SEC, SPL as well, but these are also players, Deduin especially, that participates in amateur leagues. So they are constantly getting reps in. They are constantly working at getting better at the game. We're keeping up with the meta, with itemization, everything else. These are very experienced players that have been around for a minute and continue to stay relevant with the game on the side of Ratcatchers. And on Smoke Break, even though I know Genetics took a bit of a break after the Founders Series loss, I mean, I can't blame them. That was devastating for me to see as well. It's my main dog. Same thing with Sap 7. His teammates might have took it a little bit differently, but they're back. They're here, and they have been putting on a hell of a clinic so far, making their way up to this point. Now they've got a much harder task. What looked like some, for the lack of better words, no names in their first matchup. Now they're up against, how you mentioned, Adapting, Theeks, Deduin. They've got a hefty set of a challenge ahead of them.
Yeah, for sure. I think this has potential to be the match of the day. I mean, these are two really good teams with really good players on both sides in their own individual roles, man. This should be a good one, I think.
Well, let's see how good it is. We're going to make our way into picks and bans to see what gods are going to be hitting your TV screens right here, right now. Rosters are below. If you haven't found out just yet who is where, like you said, Deduin, Adapting, Theeks, there's definitely some big names. Dardes, Streak, people who've been around for quite some time. Deathwalker, also known as Benko here, Sap 7, Genetics. You've got a lot of huge names. Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at these rosters, man, there's a good chunk of former world champions on it. You have Genetics, Coast, who have each won one. Genetics in season 9, Coast in season 10. Adapting's won 2 back in season 2 and 3. Theeks has won 1 alongside Genetics once upon a time in season 9. Dardes winning alongside Vaporish Coast in season 10. Different role, but still, these are really good players across both sides. And these are players across the way, across the field, who aren't impacted by this ping. This is a true EU matchup here between these two teams. I'm really excited to see the true, talent and the individual skill. What can really come out of this matchup? I'm really excited to see it.
Yeah, and before this point, I mean, we mentioned this is an EU Conquest tournament. These games are played on EU servers. Regardless, there's going to be some NA players that sign up. They say, we'll deal with ping. For $5,000, we'll deal with ping. It's not that big of an issue, right? But this is at home. I mean, Genetics is in his living room right now, or his bedroom, or wherever his computer's set up. And same with everybody else here in the EU. They're playing at the crib, comfortable, and hardly any ping, I'd imagine, to get these games going. So to see our first true EU matchup, and we can see that play style that we talked about in game 1 with Smoke Break, that they're comfortable with playing this slow, long, methodical drive downfield and eventually getting into the end zone rather than just going for, long Hail Mary passes and getting there faster than others. They're completely fine with playing the run game.
Wow, you're right. You have been casting way too much football lately, Mort.
I really have. I was just telling Book over the break that I've been doing so much football casting that I've completely I don't know. When you do football, you talk about the same stuff, like left hash mark, 43-yard line, second down. You forget I have to be creative when I cast Smite. I have to come up with things to say that make the fight sound cool. In football, I just say the same crap over and over. So it's been a bit of a culture shock for sure. But regardless, I'm glad to shake off some rust and be back to my favorite place to be, honestly. I mean, Smite has been a home to me for quite a long time. I was playing the Smite 1 beta when I was in high school, and to be here now, I mean, I would have never expected it. So it's definitely, it's going to be back.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. No, I started back in season 2, I want to say, back when the Smite first came to console on Xbox. So yeah, I mean, this has been a long time coming for me. I'm really excited to be here as well. And excited to see, I mean, it's crazy, right? Like you and I kind of grow up playing this game. We see the top players like adapting who won in season 2 and 3, watching the Pro League once upon a time. And now we get to sit here and yap about them playing in this game up against, you know, other world champions. It's just kind of surreal a little bit from time to time. You kind of have to pinch yourself. But yeah, I mean, to me, it's going to be a matter of what these two teams decide to draft. You know, what is Smoke Break going to prioritize being in that first slot? What are Ratcatchers going to respond with having that 10th pick counter option if they should go for it? Maybe in the soul lane or, you know, in mid lane. I'm not so sure. Maybe support. We've seen a couple of, you know, late junglers as of late. So excited to see what Ratcatchers decide to prioritize, as well as, you know, maybe hold off on a little bit.
Discordia and Odin going to be our first bans underway. And based on the Odin, or not the Odin, the Discordia that we saw from last game, I don't blame the ban at all. That Discordia is still extremely strong. And I'm so excited to see how this next pick goes through as well for whoever's going to be replacing Disco, right? Because Chiron's still open. You've got a good amount of mid laners. I mean, the Neath pick was extremely strong from Kaveka, but even Theeks could take that into mid lane. There's still a lot of options here that could really change up how this game goes.
Tsukiyomi ban is really interesting because adapting consistently has gone towards this pick as of late and done very well on it. So interesting that Smoke Break decided to, you know, really prioritize saying adapting, you do not get to play this pick. And then unclear if this is an Adapt King Thor ban or if this is a Deduan ban, but either way, Thor is going to be taken off the table by Smoke Break, taking that one away from Ratcatchers. Chiron's still available. We mentioned it previously. The Sylvanas kind of still available. Not entirely sure where Smoke Break are going to prioritize. Maybe the On Her like they did previously. That seemed to work out really well for Vaporish Coast. I wouldn't be surprised to see him go back towards that pick maybe.
RDO going to be the final ban. And yeah, like you mentioned, a lot of open picks. The On Her was really nice. And I think what I liked about the On Her so much, we talked about this a little bit, is that the Enfeeble passive melts bots alongside with Oathsworn Spear. So both On Her and Chiron and whoever your solo is probably, or your jungler, are all going to benefit from a whole lot of non-fizz prots, or a big lack of fizz prots on the side of Ratcatchers. You're going to be able to make sure that they can't tank anything, especially the backliners who already are struggling with the little amount of protections they're given as base stats. Now they're going to have practically nothing between Oathsworn and Enfeeble's passive. I mean, this is going to be bad news for Ratcatchers, especially their backline. They're going to have to play extremely careful and rely on their tanks.
If I'm Ratcatchers here, I'm just taking away the Chiron. I'm seeing that SAP7 played it in game 1, and I'm saying, we are prioritizing this. We're giving it to Theeks. Maybe even Streak Up can play it. Instead, they're going to go towards the Cerberus. To me, this is probably going to... Oh, okay. Maybe not. I was going to say Cerberus in the soul lane, but instead going towards the Cabrakan, which could also flex to jungle as well, maybe. It could... This is two very good flex potential early on here for Ratcatchers, and this is a good spot to be in. You're making Smoke Break kind of guess, where are some of these picks going to be going? Okay, how are we going to respond? To me, though, Smoke Break should respond with just picking the Chiron here. Again, going for the double Oathsworn of double ADC, leaning on just shredding out fizz protections here and making yourselves pretty much do true damage at that point. I think that is the answer here if you're Smoke Break.
Oh, okay. So Baron probably going to genetics, and then, I don't know if I love the pick of Baron going into Serb, assuming that Serb's going to be their support, because you're constantly affected by anti-heal. I'm sure that genetics could land probably every consigned spirits this game, and that's going to still give a good amount of healing, but you're constantly debuffed by just being around Cerberus. So I don't know if it's worth the pick. I guess we'll find out. I still think there's a lot of utility between the wrap it up. If anything, this could go towards SAP7 and then, well, I guess not with I don't know, dude. There's just, with aspects and everything else in the game, it's so hard to predict like who's going where, you know?
For sure, but I mean, check this one out. I mean, Newt has been picked up here for the side of Ratcatchers. I love this option. Again, more flex potential. You mentioned the aspects, and Newt can go to ADC mid, maybe even in the support role. So still, just so much flex potential. Hecate, though, not going to be a lot of flex potential. That's going to go to Theeks in the mid lane, and Theeks loves this pick here. So, yeah, I mean, Ratcatchers, I think they're starting to round out their draft here so far. Again, I'm just so curious to know where this Newt is going to end up going.
You know what's crazy too is yesterday I did a cast, and it's in a little place called Babylon Smite League where we saw NMR take Nut into the jungle. Newt played Newt jungle with crit and just slammed health bar. So there's a big possibility that happens. I mean, adapting might be a ball knower, and try for that as well. All 5 on the side of Smoke Break have been picked out. Bellona, Poseidon. So we did see Poseidon a little bit earlier today with Pasha. I mean, there is a possibility that comes back here, maybe for Zoni. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of possibilities here.
Yeah, Johnny is Pasha here. So, I mean, I'm excited to see the Poseidon jungle once again. I think that's probably where it's going to be. I mean, that makes sense, right? Because you need some magical damage somewhere with these double ADCs. So putting it in the jungle here for Poseidon. Want to give a shout out, though, to Benko Bellona here. This is one of Deathwalker's old head picks from back in the day. I remember in season 4, him going towards that pick very often and making a name for himself there. But adapting with the Hunbots. 10th pick overall here. Look at the AoE damage on the side of Ratcatchers and AoE space control that they have. So much of it. And Smoke Break, they have some CC. Pretty much everyone has a CC immune ultimate except for Johnny in the jungle on Poseidon. So he's going to have to lean on the beads. But our Smoke Break really going to risk not going for beads here against how much CC is on the side of Ratcatchers. I mean, even Newt ult could arguably force the side of Smoke Break to have to go beads. There is so much CC on the other side here.
I mean, I don't know, but here's what I'm thinking. I guess we'll talk about it as we get into game here. Let's start our game 3 of the day. Smoke Break up against Ratcatchers. We're making our way down the bracket slowly but surely. But who will make their way into the semis? That will be determined by this game. As we pause, but nothing. You know, yeah, just scratch everything I said.
Yeah. You know, we got a chance. Listen, you get a chance to ask me what you were going to ask me. Yeah.
Right. Because you talked about how big circle. I completely forgot. I would have just never talked about it if you didn't bring it up. So big circles, big AoE damage, big crowd control, big circles on the side of Ratcatchers. What are the strengths of the Smoke Break comp here?
Okay, so again, it leans into that double ADC Oathsworn idea that they've gone towards themselves. Also going to allow Benko to play a little more aggressive and really ruin the side of Ratcatchers, can play that front to back style, and they do have very good pick potential. The Baron Somnity with that ultimate into the coffin is going to pull members in on the side of Ratcatchers, and with how much, you know, AoE kind of single target ish damage that Smoke Break have, they can play an execution style, you know, composition. They can try and just pull in the Cerberus, pull in the Kabrakan, and try and execute them off of a Chiron ult and on her ult. All that prot being shredded down and clean them up with the Bellona ultimate or something. But the Smoke Break have to be careful because they have AoE damage, sure, but a lot of it is, you know, line AoE damage. It's not AoE in the form of a circle. It's, you know, just one line that goes straight down and you know, through the jungle, sure, but it's not the same way that Ratcatchers have, where it's big AoE circle ultimates that can take up an entire jungle corridor versus just, you know, cutting off a quarter of a jungle corridor that Smoke Break can do.
One thing I've been questioning since we got the Newt pick on screen is I wonder if we're going to see the aspect of the Cosmos. Now, I know it's been nerfed quite a bit, and it doesn't do as much damage, but one thing I'm thinking about is that not only does it give you crowd control immunity, but it gives it to one of your friends as well. That is a super handy escape to get away from life of the party. If we see Genetics use ult here, then, I mean, it's just an easy dash for you and your friend. Yeah. You're out of the ultimate and it's negated. I don't know if it has enough value through the cleanse alone to be picked up here, but I'm just saying that could be a pretty solid counter pick.
I can see the argument for that for sure. And I think if there was a little more CC on the side of Smoke Break, I could agree to that idea. But I feel like you're going to be lacking a significant amount of damage if you decide to go for that. I mean, this is going to be new ADC for Streak. And so going towards that aspect, I think they are going to lose out on a lot of damage here. Hecate wants to spend a little bit of time farming, kind of like we mentioned in the last game. We never got to see Death get to that point where the Hecate could do big numbers. Theeks wants to spend a bit of time farming here, getting that Book of Thoth online, getting the Spear of Desto, the Chronos Pendant maybe. Bots wants to spend a bit of time farming, getting some CDR online. Again, I think you just have to lean on this damage Newt style. I'm excited to see how it works. I mean, I've never gotten to see Newt kind of play out properly in Smite 2 yet. In Smite 1, we saw her a little bit, but never kind of at this level of play. So I'm excited to see how it flows. And Streak is a really good ADC. Streak making it to the Vegas finals, was the opponent of Cyclone Spin, who ended up winning it all out and had some really sick Uller plays at times. Yeah. So to me, it's like, how does Streak decide to play this character? What do they decide to build? Do they lean towards more of the strength, basic attack side of things? Do they lean for a full strength build, going towards the Oathsworn, maybe a Transcendence? Do they go for maybe an int build and leaning into some of that magical damage instead? To me, it's really interesting to see how this character is really piloted, because we've never really gotten to see it played at this level of play before.
And one thing that sticks out to me, too, you mentioned that we saw a good amount of Newt in Smite 1, but Smite 2, she's relatively new to the comp scene. Let's look at the side of Ratcatchers. And with Newt moving over to Smite 2, now dealing magical damage, they have 4 magical damage dealers. The only one that's dealing any physical is Hunbats. And I wonder how that's going to affect, itemization from Smoke Break or what Ratcatchers build up. But surely they're going to need some penetration through Obshard or maybe even a Totem of Death or something like that to try and negate some of the protections that surely Genetics and Benko are going to be picking up.
Yeah, I imagine so. To me, it's going to have to come down to Theeks, because I don't think there's a world that Streak can make. To me, the int build doesn't work as well on Newt. Right. It doesn't work as effectively. So to me, it's going to be a full strength build, but you can't then lean on that Oathsworn. Why would you build Oathsworn as a Newt? It's kind of like Aladdin building Oathsworn, right? It just doesn't work because you're removing physical protections and you're a magical damage dealer. So you're just kind of not getting the full benefit. It's great for your team, but like you mentioned, only Ratcatcher's only physical damage is Humbots.
Looks like we're ready for game. We can finally do away with all the hypothetical talk and see how this is really going to go down.
You're right.
And for those of you just now joining us, we are in the quarterfinals. Smoke Break up against Ratcatchers. My name is Morty, joined by the whole Smite Prime crew. Rosie, Test Die, Jithin's behind the scenes, and Spirited Book with me next to in the booth. Yeah, I'm excited for this.
Yeah, and you were right. Newt going towards the aspect. And so going to have access to that little bit of extra immunity for herself and some allies. Going to be able to avoid that ultimate from Genetics very well here. Aspect of the Cosmos. Flux becomes Cosmic Flux. Decaying past 10 stacks, heals allies. A bit of base damage as well. And yeah, the more important one, Crashing Comet stuns and slows, but takes longer to land. Warp grants CC immunity to self and one nearby ally. That is very good here against Genetics and that ultimate, as well as Pasha and the Whirlpool Kraken combo. A lot of that could be negated all of a sudden if you have access to that CC immunity dash.
There is CC immunity is going to be very nice here as we make our way, minions spawning in. There's a lot to talk about here. Aspect of Hysteria picked up for Genetics on that side. Aspect of Disruption for adapting, so you get extra crowd control. You mentioned that they have a pretty good amount already, but now they've got even more with that. There's a lot to look at here.
I feel like Ratcatchers might be doubling down a little bit too much on this crowd control. Where is their damage going to come from in this composition? I'm not so sure where exactly. Theeks is going to be a big part of it, sure, and Humbots, despite going towards that aspect, can still do decent damage. Just going to have a little bit more CC to boot. And personally, I love Humbots aspect over base Humbots a little bit more usually because of, what he does as a character. He is the true setup king. He has that big AoE ultimate that, crowd controls everyone in such a small AoE corridor. Why not give him a little bit of a stun to add on to that bit of CC and play setup man entirely? But for now, it's just going to be setup. That's all there is. If there's setup, it's great. But where's the damage afterwards? And that, to me, is going to be where we have to pay attention to when it comes to this Ratcatcher's composition. Have they doubled down a little bit too much? And speaking of doubling down, Genetics...
No way. He's going to get picked off this early. Phantom Show utilized down to what looks like 10 health. He's running for his life. Baron's Brew. He's trying to put on the juke shoes, but nowhere for him to go. Streak picks up first blood. Down goes Genetics.
Dude, this Cerberus for Dardes, I mean, a good early pressure, and this is what this character wants to do, wants to pressure out early. It's a bit of a dynamic shift from when we last saw Smoke Break. It was Vaporish Coast alongside Genex who had the pressure along from this on her, but Baron Samedi doesn't allow the on her to pressure the same way that they did previously. But Cerberus for Dardes is going to allow Streak to kind of just clear effectively and then pressure if they find an angle, especially because Genex doesn't have access to any dashes. He is a vulnerable mage character at the end of the day, despite being in the support role. So it's a very different dynamic for Smoke Break that I don't think they were ready for.
I do like the aspect of Hysteria pickup, though, because we mentioned how the Serve passive will just kind of negate a lot of the healing that Consigned Spirits can do, but Genetics says, that's fine if I don't heal. I'm just going to deal a bunch of damage instead. Maybe not enough to try and negate the First Blood for going the way of Rat Catchers, but there's just so much damage through all of that extra spoiled over Hysteria. If you just keep nailing abilities onto somebody, honestly, it's just hard to handle. Especially, you get a little bit of healing from Serve passive thanks to the, healing negated, but still, it's just a lot of damage.
Man, you can already see Streak doing a good job so far. Just so much CC, even in the laning phase. I'm kind of surprised. I didn't expect this aspect to be so almost bloated, I would say. Just there's so much to it that changes the character. And yeah, Streak, I think, is going to become a bit of a CC bot as the game goes on. It's going to be interesting to see if they have the damage to boot as well, especially because they've gone towards this Death's Toll. So no Bumba Spear. Adapting is here, though, looking for Coast.
Lands the 3. Doesn't have an overhead smash to follow through, but still some decent damage being put onto. Oh, Fear No Evil? But nothing in response. Whoa! The Aegis being slipped out from Dardes there. But all in all, the purple buff did go the way of Rat Catchers, it looked like. I think it's successful.
Yeah, I think it was. They invaded successfully there. Coast doesn't have that buff, on his waist there. So a nice little invade there from the side of Rat Catchers, adapting, already being aggressive once they're level 5. Versus Pasha, who's just kind of sitting back, farming it out, playing nice and slow here. And this is what we kind of saw in game number 1. Smoke Break just kind of sat back and let the game come to them slowly but surely.
One thing we did miss a little bit earlier on, when the Firebrands spawned, they went the way of Banco. Banco made his way over with Pasha to the Firebrands and got the first round of them pretty early on, pretty much right as soon as they spawned, and Deduin didn't feel comfortable doing anything about it. I could say. It's a little bit early to... I'm sorry.
More.
I only get one of those in a cast, and I already used it. Oh...
It's not even noon, man. Like, it's not even 12 o'clock yet as we see the blue buff secured there by Smoke Break. Nice little play from Genetics. And you mentioned it, the aspect going to allow Genetics to do just a little bit more damage on this Baron. And speaking of damage, Theeks at adapting, taken so low there.
Very, very low, but not killed. Adapting, able to go back to base, and it looks like a lot of the farm around the mid lane are going to go straight the way of Smoke Break. Pasha and Sap 7 make their way towards the Firebrands and take that down with ease, along with the middle camp. I mean, farm definitely going the way of, well, I don't want to say Smoke Break entirely, because gold lead, while still small here at the 5-minute mark, is in the way of Rat Catchers. I guess because of the First Blood, but still, I don't know. It's early to call anything, really.
I mean, you say that, but I mean, the Firebrands, more importantly, are going the way of Smoke Break. You mentioned Banco on the first round, and now going towards Pasha and Sap 7 on the second round of things. And these are permanent stats that are just going towards these characters that scale very well, especially characters like Chiron, who are full strength, sure, but still, it's great to have a little bit of int in the kit for sure. But still, these characters that want to scale, and honestly, to me, Sap 7 has to have this Chiron taken away from him, because that's now a second time where he just has free mid pressure here in the mid lane. And that's showing that he can use it to then cycle over to these Firebrands, make plays for the neutral farm on the left-hand side. Adapting over here, though, because he knows Chiron isn't on the way, Pasha's not on the way. They're looking for another purple buff invade.
A big paralyzing spit does a good amount of damage, followed by the ghastly breath, and Coast is taken down to almost a quarter health, a little bit above that. We'll call it 80% more or less. Yeah, this Chiron pick is showing so much pressure, and Firebrand's going the way of Smoke Break over and over and over. Those permanent stats will definitely hurt, but Smoke Break will be down just a tad little bit because purple buff's being snatched away from Smoke Break over and over. But yeah, the rest of the map is doing okay, but I wonder how that's going to affect early Gold Fury fights.
You can see Pasha over here as well, trying to find a little bit of farm to take away from adapting, just because adapting has spent so much time over there on the left-hand side, but there is nothing available to take. So Pasha just going to be, pretty even with adapting. A little bit of an experience lead, sure, because he's been able to get all the farm on the right-hand side, his own farm, as well as a bit of some camps here and there. And you can actually see Benko invading adapting's back right-hand Harpies there. So just more farm taken away from adapting. But I mean, that's okay. Adapting going towards this very different build that we're not used to seeing on Hanbats. The Lunarian bow picked up first overall. So just a bit of bonus damage as he goes in off the stun. A nice little look for him, but it's nothing, too crazy just yet. Still wants to build, I think, a little bit of CDR, as we do see Benko trying to invade the red buff here.
All right, going in on left side. Oh, okay. All right, we're back. Benko walking forward.
I think he got it. Because no one's picking it up here, so I do think Benko was able to steal that one away. Maybe not, though.
I have no idea what I'm looking at. I'm sorry. I'm trying to call it here. Okay, mid lane Beacon is being fought over by Smokebreak and Ratcatchers, 2 members on each side, and Ghastly Breath doing decent damage, but still the Beacon is in favor of Smokebreak. They've got more dominance over it, and now with Pasha here, the numbers game looks their way, but around the corner is adapting, ready to jump in at a moment's notice. A lot of ultimates online, all 5 on both sides. Life of the party utilized, looking for a member of the back line. A great pull from Genetics, followed by the Kraken from Pasha, will send Theeks back into the tower with 100 health to his name. Centaurus Snipes hit the head top of adapting. Now he's running away on the left side, but Sap 7 slows him down and says, not today. The first kill for Smokebreak happens right now, maintaining control of the mid lane Beacon, and Coast walking back towards Duo. Maybe Gold Fury gets looked at here as well?
No, I don't think so. Just not enough, health bars available, not enough real damage available just yet from both sides. A great rotation there from Coast, though, and they are able to take down adapting. Theeks was also forced to back to base there in that moment. And I feel like we're starting to see a bit of the issues with Hecate. She just doesn't have the early game damage that you want of a mage right now. I mean, even Merlin, I feel like, can provide a little bit more early on. Yeah, don't get me wrong. Her late game, her space control with the ultimate are fantastic. The shred potential off the blue stance 1, as we mentioned previously once upon a time, and it allows you to shred people in front of you as well as objectives. But so far, it's just a lot of tower sitting here for Theeks, and he's really struggled against this high pressure, mid hunter of Chiron. And this is twice now where this matchup is just very hard to deal with.
Lands a 3, but the cleanse will give him a little bit to work with, and looks like Sap will be A-OK. Open the gates utilized to bring him a portal forward, and look at Duin rotating over as well. The 2 lands on Sap 7's head, and it does a good amount of damage
the blink
over the wall, but Beads utilized to make sure that it doesn't get stunned by the overhead smash, but going through towards solo lane, looking to land into the arms of Benko, saying, please save me. It looks like he'll be saved. No kills suffered, and Firebrand's not spilled because they're not up just yet. Benko here with Deduin and adapting in solo, but I don't think there's going to be any fights over there. Instead, we'll see some blood spilled in duo. That's a great kill going towards Streak over in duo lane, and Genetics down to low man and not much that he could do.
Yeah, Genetics going to be in a world of hurt here, getting taken lower and lower, and already you could see Streak up using that dash there. You just granting a little bit of CC immunity, and it's nothing in that moment that's going to be impactful, sure, but you could see both members going golden right there. And as the game goes on, as Streak stands next to members like Theeks, as Genetics does take a spill to Streak, who is 2-0 on this Newt, starting to get a little out of hand here on the left-hand side. This character is a little spooky, man, deceivingly spooky.
Yeah, I mean, we even talked about how there is a bit of a lack of damage through scaling, through the aspect of the Cosmos, but still, I mean, it looks like he's slamming hard, most importantly through basic attacks. The Lerny Bow as well, he's going to be slamming autos. And I wonder if there's going to be some crit later on in the build, or maybe we see just on hits or whatever. Not so sure just yet, but the Gold Fury getting looked at. I don't know if Pasha was burning that. Maybe they tried it, but Ratcatchers had 3 members across the way, so they dropped it quick. Smokebreak didn't feel comfortable taking it in the faces of Ratcatchers, and I don't blame them. I mean, the Ratcatchers are kind of in the lead right now.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that play is just there to, try. Let's see what they do. Are they nearby? Are they going to respond? But I mean, Smoke Break, I feel like they dropped the ball in that moment because this is the first round of Firebrands that's going to go the way of Ratcatchers. So they're slipping a little bit. They're losing a bit of their early game aggression and pressure that they've, really got for themselves off of their composition, and looking for little cute plays like that where, yeah, let's try and sneak a Gold Fury in front of them. No, instead, just keep to the same strategy that's been working. Keep stacking these Firebrands on characters like Chiron, on characters like the Poseidon that want to scale a little bit. Sure, can have good early pressure, but wants the full one-shot potential off the Kraken. To me, it's just a bit of a drop ball by Smoke Break that they're letting Ratcatchers kind of get back into this game.
12 and a half minutes into the game, 1-3. Ratcatchers up on kills and a tiny bit of gold, a negligible amount, like nothing too crazy. But I feel like Ratcatchers are feeling a little more aggressive. Kraken utilized, but doesn't land. Over the wall goes, adapting to dodge the Kraken, which is a very smart play on his part. Pasha's now down an ult, and that's a huge tool, not just for kills, but to steal away the Gold Fury. So maybe Ratcatchers feel a little bit more confident going for that, but they're going to need to kill at least one member of Smoke Break before doing so. Purple buff getting looked at by Pasha. A lot of poke being thrown out on both sides. Everybody except the solo laners here by the Gold Fury pit, and Ratcatchers just looking for a pick somewhere. Genetics hits the life of the party, pulls in Sir, but jumping over through the bush will get Dardez to safety. Genetics can't find a lockdown there, so maybe we'll see a skirmish in mid lane instead, but adapting, running away, doesn't want to fight against SAP 7. With this dominant Chiron pick, I cannot blame him. Giddy up, brings them forward back to middle. And I think that Smokebreaker still having a hard time catching anyone. So now that they've pushed away every member of Ratcatchers, they go for the burn on the Gold Fury down to 5,000 health. But around the corner, Streak, maybe looking for a steal through Skyfall. That could be a possibility. Adapting here as well. There's no Kraken to secure it. Down to 3,000 health. Down to 2. Genetics drops it though. Ratcatchers are just going to pick it back up. You're going to give it to him and say, hey, we'll go for it. Darda stampedes forwards. And there's a lot of ultimates online. Open the gates, utilize, adapting steals the Gold Fury. They have officially ripped the Gold Fury out of the hands of Smoke Break. A good cleanse will make sure the Skyfall doesn't lock anybody down. Paralyzing Spit just a tad bit off the mark. Also walking forward towards Dardez. Dardez could be in a whole lot of trouble. Banco rotating over, lands the Eagles rally, but doesn't quite find the damage. Kraken just now got back up, and Banco able to hit Dardez through the Scourge, and down he goes. But the fight continues from there. Dylan does have the ultimate online. In goes adapting with the 3 and the overhead smash. Somersault brings him in, and the staff will deal the rest of the damage needed. Banco falls there, and 1 kill on each side. We'll make sure that it's somewhat even. Well, aside from the gold that went the way of Ratcatchers.
Yeah, and you see adapting immediately using that fight pressure there to try and invade this red buff here. Is he going to be able to steal it away? No, Pasha, I think, secures that one. But unfortunate there, but still huge for Ratcatchers. They get the Gold Fury, they get the fight after as well. Sure, they lose Dardez, but that's just the support. You're okay with that trade every day of the week. And look at this build that Dardez has gone for. It's true item, just supportive style that he used to really go towards, where, Stampede, Screeching Gargoyle, just item effects that are going to help out the team. Dardez is going to pop the sprint, go in, pop a Screeching Gargoyle. The enemy team won't be able to cast abilities because of that silence in that moment. So Ratcatchers just having a support that's playing so aggressive here, but also in such a supportive style with these item pickups.
That's what I love about Smite 2 as well. I mean, you talk about Smite 1 supports. Hey, guys, I got sovereignty. I'm going to hang out with you for a little bit, and you'll have more protections. I did my job. But now you've got active items that let you do so much more with Smite 2 supports. I mean, he could really go in and make a difference. Dardez is making a huge impact through the active items alone, not to mention everything else that Serb has within his own kit. So, yeah, Dardez is an absolute playmaker when it comes to letting Ratcatchers get stuff done around these fights. And the Stampede forward is what let Adapting get in place to steal the Gold Fury, and as well as taking down Banco. I mean, Adapting wouldn't have been able to be there without utility from Darda. So yeah, you're absolutely right. As it looks like Ratcatchers are going to go for a steal on the purple buff yet again, trying to shut down the dual lane from Smoke Break. Genetics is in a bad way. Life of the party utilized, does find a stun, but not a lot of damage to follow through. Genetics not tanky enough to survive all that focus damage. Genetics dead once more, and Ratcatchers picking up another kill, a purple buff, but the Moonlight Queen being looked at by Smoke Break.
Adapting is on the way, though. So is Dardez, and already Smoke Break have to give up the objective there. Can't confirm it. They don't feel comfortable taking a trade with Adapting, and Dardez on the way. Adapting just going to hover in the mid lane. Coast is on the way, though, actually, to this right-hand side.
Kraken's online, but it goes the way of the Ratcatchers, taking the Naga away once more. They utilize the fact that the Naga doesn't regen, so it was down to 2,000 health. Ratcatchers picked it up and took it, and that's huge. Babenko wanting a bit of revenge for the fallen objective. A massive stun roots in Dardes. Ake is utilized to maybe save his life. Babenko goes into the backline. Adapting does the same, and down goes Coast. And Centaurus maybe utilized to try and save the life of Sap7. Rooted in place once more to do it, secures the kill. 3 dead on Smokebreak's side. Ratcatchers emerging victorious with the Gold Fury in hand. The Queen Naga with 3, make it 4 kills. Somersaults over the wall, followed by an overhead smash. Adapting cleans up yet another member of Smokebreak. Genetics all by himself in solo lane with Smokebreak blood spilled across the jungle.
So much CC in such a small corridor. You don't want to take these fights in the jungle if you're Smokebreak. Look at that moment there from Theeks. Open the gates, followed up by Streak's ultimate, followed up by Adapting, chasing out Vaporish Coast. Just so much CC in such a small condensed corridor. And there is nothing that Smokebreak can do about it. Yes, you have a CC Moon ultimate. Yes, you have beads. And yet there's still just more CC on top of it. Adapting has a stun follow-up. Theeks has a mez. Streak has a stun as well off of the 2. There's just so much CC, and there's not a lot Smokebreak can do about it. I feel like Genetics has to go for a team bead soon at some point because there's just too much. There's too much CC.
Coast is caught out on left side. Coast is in a whole heap of trouble, and Dardes is looking right at him. He's trying to go through Dardes. Looks like he's going to find his way out, but there's no tier 1 for him to run back at, and Disperse brings him through, but Paralyzing Spit forces beads away from Coast. You might not find a kill, but at least you pulled a relic. That's a great pull. Yet again, more utility from Dardes. This support pick just looks so good on him.
Dude, Dardes support is nothing to be scoffed at. Yes, it's a recent role change. He used to play mid once upon a time in Smite. That's where he won his world champion. But before then, he was a support main. He played support alongside Jermaine once upon a time. Shoutouts to that old head from back in the day. And now swapped to mid in season 5 to help out Raffer and Furballer, I believe. No, not Furball. Funballer. That's the true OG ADC from once upon a time. But instead going towards the support role, and he's just very comfortable in the position once again as Coast getting gone on this left-hand side, chased down.
Fear No Evil utilized, followed by Life with the party from Genetics, trying to find a pull on one member of Ratcatchers. Open the gates, utilized, but doesn't quite find a pull. Genetics down to extremely low health. So is Coast, as Coast goes back to base. Sap7 hitting some damage over the wall, but not able to really poke down too many members of Ratcatchers. Gold Fury went the way of Ratcatchers as well just a moment ago. That's going to be their second one of the game, and Pasha's in a whole heap of trouble. To do it, just soloed Banko on the right side. What in the world? And a good paralyzing spit locks Pasha in place. There's no way you're catching up to my team, not with me on watch. Dude, I love what Ratcatchers are doing right now. This is a shock for Smokebreak. What once went from Smokebreak running down teams lower in the bracket, now they just got a culture shock. They need to wake up and get back in.
Yeah, and part of it is that I feel like Ratcatchers are just playing the map better. I mean, look at this. Darda is still hunting here on a Sap7. There's just no ward control, and Ratcatchers, they're taking full advantage. They're just in Smokebreak's jungle, running it down at whoever they see, trying to get little victories. Shoutouts to Dardes, left-hand side, pulls Vaporish Coast beads earlier. What happens next? They are immediately back there on the left-hand side, looking for a pick on the Coast. They don't find it, but they still just pull more resources, finding Genetics as his ultimate, pulling off item relics and stuff. So just small victories here and there.
And going for a red buff, the 4-man split on the red buff as Ratcatchers look
Fire
to
Giant.
take on the Fire Giant. I think this is a bait play, honestly. I'm pretty sure that's exactly what it is.
I don't know.
It is down to, no, I don't know. They're continuing the burn. It's down to 7K, but in go Ratcatchers, a big hand style from Genetics, maybe provide some space. Life of the party to follow through. A lot of immunities utilized from Ratcatchers, adapting going on to Pasha. And Streak takes down Genetics. 2 dead for Smokebreak. Make it 3. A massive stun. through Paralyzing Spit, and paralyzed for life is what he might end up being. Third dead for Smoke Break, and nothing that Banco and Coast can do but watch as the team gets annihilated. Banco gets stunned as well. Ratcatcher's back on the FG. It's down to 4K. Nobody from Smoke Break around. A free Fire Giant along with 3 kills going the way of Ratcatcher's Obsidian Dagger in hand for adapting. Ratcatchers look unstoppable.
Who needs damage when you just have CC for days, man? They just continue to play it out slow, and then go. Just taking down Genetics and then immediately chasing down onto SAP7. A great paralyzing spit, like you mentioned, from Dardes. Followed up immediately by Deduin running the Chiron down, keeping him CC'd. He didn't have beads. If he's already stunned, he still can't get the cleanse off because he's still stunned. And so SAP7 takes a spill. Fire Giant on all 5 members of Ratcatchers, and this game has officially gotten out of control. Smoke Break, they need to find an answer, and they need to find an answer soon.
I don't even know what the answer is. With a 12K gold lead at 22 and a half minutes, I mean, this has got to be the hardest question that Ratcatchers could ask Smoke Break. Can you find a way back in? How are you going to do so? And I really don't know what the answer is. Maybe Smoke Break can find it, because I know that I can't. But a couple members from Smoke Break linked up on left side, and Theeks and Dardes over here by the purple buff. Stampede utilized from Genetics, maybe breaking Banco forward to try and find a pick, but CC immunity from Streak. There's no way he bit this off. I think that was kind of an in play.
Yeah. I feel like it was a bit of a tossed call there. Genetics said, we want to go in here, pop the sprint. Benko took it too literally and then just full sent it on his own and then took a spill there. That is that immediately makes this siege defense so much harder here for Smoke Break to take.
It is what I think. Mentalities are being affected here, Book. I think that's what it is. Mentalities are starting to weaken for Smoke Break. They're starting to realize how awful of a position it is that they're in, and it's hard to hold that mental together. Paralyzing Spit locks one in place, but oh no, going back in. Ratcatchers are looking to maybe find a kill on Coast. In goes adapting into the back line. Kraken utilized, though, to create space so Coast doesn't die. Gets back to the fountain instead, looking to defend the left bird, but not Genetics. What can do? Paralyzing Spit once more. Oh my god, Dardes is him, but the fight's not over from there. Fear No Evil utilized. Banco's in trouble. Streak is low, but surely not dead. 2 dead for Smoke Break so far. Pasha, SAP7, and Coast looking to defend the Titan with everything they've got, but no ultimates left to utilize. This could be game. Smoke Break might be counting their last seconds of this match, but Ratcatchers instead is deciding not to go for the game. We'll come back later. Oh, they're waiting on minions. This could be it here.
They're going for it. They're going for it. They're trying to get it. They find Vaporish Coast, and they'll look to force out Pasha into the fountain here, and they'll look to push onto the Titan. Ratcatchers take down Smoke Break here.
No way. Good Lord. That was game. Oh my god. I mean, they just, what looked like it was Banco who ran in, died. Genetics got picked by the paralyzing spit, died. And they just find these little picks back and forth. The next thing you know, all the puzzle pieces have linked together. Let's just end the freaking game. Let's do it. And that's exactly what they did. Smoke Break just got checked. Ratcatchers just got a humongous dub as they make their way down the bracket. Before we go any further, we're going to take a couple moments. We'll be back in a few. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Smite Prime's 2026 kickoff event, the EU Conquest Tournament. And we just watched an awesome game between 2 stacked EU teams. My name's Morty. I'm joined here by the Smite Prime crew. We've got Jithens, we've got Rosie, we've got Testai, and y'all already know the Spirited Book. My homie is with me here today. And talk about what we just saw here, Book.
Yeah, it was a pretty back and forth early game, I thought, for a bit, where honestly Ratcatchers weren't really in it, and it was honestly all Smoke Break in the early game for me. They were doing, I think, the better job of playing the map. They were playing for the firebrands. Adapting was just playing for a single buff of, you know, the purple buff on the left-hand side, putting Coast and Genetics behind. But kind of somewhere in the mid game, I feel like Smoke Break let off the gas a little bit, stopped playing for their game plan, and then just let Ratcatchers run away with it. and run away with it. Indeed, they did. I feel like Streak had such a great performance on the Newt. Adapting on this Humbots was so sick. The doing solo killed Benko. Theeks honestly just kind of did his job. Big open the gates, has set up, pull beads. And then Dardes, man. Welcome back to the support role, man. I thought he played so well on this Cerberus.
Dardes, welcome to support. We know that you've transferred from mid lane recently and that you're a little new to the support for quite some time, but we're glad to have you. You put on a hell of a clinic and you showed us just how strong the support role really is. That was something that me and Book were talking about over the break, is that like support really is like supports win games. You know what I mean? And Dardes was a huge contributing factor to making that happen. Unfortunately, Ratcatchers did beat my beloved GOAT Genetics. Genetics, I'm going to miss you. I can't wait to catch you again one day. But all right, find another catcher. Oh, bad. No, that's because Book's been talking about. I love Zapman. Whatever. I don't care. I'll cast whoever, I guess. Taking it away. We're waiting on the winners of KGH against I Wish for Wealth, but Clown Fiesta up against the Artemis Bow incident is what we're going to be looking at next on the semifinals. Man, I'm excited to see how that one goes down, too. We haven't really seen anything from either of these teams, and we haven't really talked about it throughout the entire set, really.
No, I am also incredibly curious what the Artemis Bow incident is.
Should I Google it?
Anyways, Clown Fiesta, I feel like, is the team that I've wanted to watch all day today. That is the Wolfie, Kalas, Ice team, old heads from Rival back in the day of season 4 and 5, really good team from once upon a time, kind of split up and went their own ways, went to different teams, and some found success and some kind of didn't. None of them really went on to win worlds or anything like that. But now back together again, this time with a new soul laner and a new ADC. I'm excited to see how this team really does yet again. I mean, this was the OG Deathwalker team, right? Like, this was Kalas, Ice, Wolfie, Deathwalker, and Vote once upon a time, Vote MBK. And now it's just these 3 core members that have kind of stuck together, coming back to Smite 2. Excited to see how they do.
Okay, so I looked it up. I looked up the Bow incident. And basically what happened is Apollo tricked Artemis, saying, hey, I don't think you can hit that target off in the distance. I dare you to try and shoot it. So Artemis says, okay, bet. I'm her, right? I'm Artemis. I'm going to hit that target. Turns out that target was actually her friend away in the distance. So Artemis accidentally killed her friend, and Apollo purposefully tricked Artemis to do that. But what is not a trick is the fact that we have picks and bans waiting for us, ready to go. Kind of a downer on the mood, but we'll bring it back up because we've got picks and bans for the semifinals here.
Yeah, it was very hard story to hear. More, thank you for helping us through it. But yeah, this is set to be a good one, I think, between these two teams. Clown Fiesta versus the Artemis Bow incident of 26. Oh, this is maybe a different. Was that incident you were referring to in 2026?
No, boss, probably like billions of years. I don't freaking know mythology like that. 26 would be look, the AI, I'm ashamed to admit it. I looked at the AI overview. I didn't check any actual sources. I just went to the AI overview of Google, and it made me look like a bit of a fool there. I'm seeing 2013 sailing incident. Artemis Racing? Oh, that's not it. I'm going to close out of this tab. I'm sorry, Dithens. Back to the game here. So we've got a couple bands going underway here, Aladdin and Eset, and we have seen a lot of good things through Eset, especially Cherry early on in solo utilized that Eset pick, which I thought was it had pros and cons there. I kind of liked it.
Yeah, for sure. I'm kind of a little bit surprised by this Aladdin pick, or Aladdin band, excuse me. I don't feel like we've seen that all day today. Maybe this is just something the other side of the bracket has been prioritizing, or maybe something that the Artemis Bow incident in particular have been prioritizing. It's going to be taken away here by Clown Fiesta. And this is the game to me where I'm going to be paying attention towards Ice and what they decide to pick, because Ice from back in the day was one of the OG Naja players. And again, that pick is available to both these two teams, and we haven't seen it yet today. This might be the avenue to see it right now.
You know, one thing that was talked about a lot during the Founders series, I know it feels like forever ago now, it really wasn't, but they talked about how EU didn't really respect the Aladdin pick as much and that they didn't really, pick a lot during their scrims or anything, but the NA players loved Aladdin. They love to pick Aladdin. So that's something that the Team Risk jungler didn't really practice going into the finals. That's why it was banned and banned and banned, because they didn't want to play it, but they also didn't want Scream to play it. And then they finally gave it up in Game 5. Y'all already know how that story goes if you watch the Las Vegas Founder Series finals, that Scream was just the Aladdin GOAT at the time. Probably still is. We don't know now. But yeah, so I think it's kind of the same thing, is like maybe they don't respect the enemy team to play the Aladdin, but we haven't practiced it. We know it's a pretty impactful pick, so let's just ban it, not even worry about it, and get rid of it. But now they're going to have to worry about Ardio hitting the field for Clown Fiesta and Serb and Merlin. Oh.
I've been wondering where the Merlin is. I feel like we haven't seen him a whole lot today, and I do think this is still a really good character. You probably aren't leaning on the Polynomicon build that we've kind of been known to see Merlins go towards in Smite 2, but he still is just really good with a full power, some CDR sprinkled in type build. You know, going towards Book of Thoth, then Deso, the Soul Gems, can throw in a Chronos Pendant somewhere in there, Rada Tahuti, Obshard, all the like, can make Totem of Death work as well for this character, and paired alongside the Cerberus, that's a ton of protections being shredded away here. Clown Fiesta, though, they also have clearly been prioritizing this nuke character as of late. Excited to see how that one works out.
Okay. Thor, Newt, Ardio. I see pretty good burst damage. You've got a solid front line and a good initiation, too. You've got Thor to start the fight off. You know, you've got a stun through his ult and then Tectonic Rift to follow. That locks a lot of bodies in place, not just through the stun, but through the wall that Tectonic Rift carries as well. And then you've got a cripple from Ardio to make sure that they don't go anywhere. They can't leap or jump over the wall. Merlin can't use Flicker. Serb can't use his jump. And Medusa's not even going to be able to go through the wall in the first place. But even if there isn't a wall, she's not going to be able to dash through the cripple. I mean, the setup through Clown Fiesta looks good. Newt's a good response, but I wonder what their follow-up will be.
Yeah, for sure. I'm just a little bit baffled by this Medusa pick, if I'm being honest. I feel like this is a character we haven't seen in a hot minute, and for good reason. Yeah, she's kind of okay in the laning phase, but I feel like her numbers just aren't there right now. She's not really prevalent. She's not able to really make a major impact in ADC, and that is where she's being put, I would imagine. And Osiris being hovered here. And I was kind of curious if this was going to be the play here. Kalas used to play a ton of Ardio support from back in the day, and with the Osiris being locked in here for, I imagine, is going to be Game Hunter, this is probably going to be Ardio support, and then Newt in ADC, Chiron mid.
I think you're absolutely right. I think you hit it right on the nail that, yeah, this could be Chiron, who's been very prevalent. We've seen Chiron mid multiple times today. Each and every time, even if it doesn't end up winning the game, you're still slamming the lane. Like, that's just how it goes. You have so much pressure because your basic attacks hurt more automatically because you're building strength. Your abilities just hurt so much more through scalings and base damage because Chiron's a new god, and new gods are usually on the stronger end for the most part. Aside from Neja, I guess, from what we've seen today. But for the most part, the newer gods, Disco, Chiron, whoever, are always, strong and relevant. And that's exactly what this Chiron pick is. So 5-on-5 here, Book, where are you putting your odds at?
I mean, I feel like it's got to go to Clown Fiesta. I feel like this draft, to me, screams a lot of what we've already been seeing be successful today. The Chiron mid, just the free mid pressure. The Newt now for Streak was very successful. Probably going to be successful in the hands of Ragna in ADC. Then just two beefy frontliners for Thor, Osiris, Ardio as well. Going to facilitate with the cripple and the root. I think going to struggle a little bit into Cerberus and Kabrakan, but I think can be successful as the game goes on.
Well, let's find out who's going to win this game. Are Book's odds correct? Will he be winning big, or maybe not so much? Hopefully he didn't put too much on the line, Book, but we'll find out. Let's get into the game and take a look at who is going to emerge victorious. If you're just now joining us, this is the semifinals of the EU Conquest Tournament. Clown Fiesta up against the Artemis Bow incident of 26. My name is Morty, and I'm joined here by the Smite Prime crew. We've got Jithens, we've got Rosie, we've got Test Die, and next to me here in the booth, we've got Spirited Book. And I mean, it looks like you were pretty on point for who's going where. Osai solo, Ardio support, Chiron's in the mid lane. I mean, I think you're right on the mark.
Yeah, I think this is pretty accurate to how I thought things would go. I'm just kind of curious to see, how it translates. Ice going towards this Thor aspect in the jungle means he's probably going to be a little more setup style, not going towards that true one-shot idea that some Thors kind of go towards. Going to play more setup for Wolfie and Ragna, but do want to note though, Wolfie going for that Oathsworn Spear early on is going to be great, honestly, for the side of Clown Fiesta. You got two other physical characters in Game Hunter and Ice who are going to benefit from the protections being shredded. And these are two characters that want to be diving the back line, and Chiron can impact those protections with that Centaurus ultimate, just hitting onto the backline members as well as potential frontline members. So this is going to be an interesting dynamic for Clown Fiesta.
And you could see already Chiron pressing forward. Merlin's a little bit scared. And through the two, I mean, Wifey's got some pretty big damage. You've got the masterful shot that hits the wave, and it's going to hurt your enemy as well. I mean, I think there's just so much to love about this Chiron mid, and it's going to continue to dominate. And I'm wondering what's going on left side, too. We talked about how Aspect of the Cosmos is really in favor for Newt carry. But Ardio's Aspect, too, I think that really changes things up with her kit. She's got an ultimate now, but she can't change forms. Talk to me about that one.
Yeah, I'm actually been kind of curious to see what the success rate is of Ardio base versus Ardio Aspect. Ardio, like you mentioned, gets a ultimate once she hits level 5, kind of how most gods get it, but she loses access to that stance switching potential. So it's such a different playstyle, and it forces Kalas to have to decide ahead of time, like, okay, what am I going to, what ultimate am I going to prioritize? Because it's different between bear form and in druid form stance on how they play. I believe the bear form is just played a little more aggressive versus the druid form, a little more setup style for the carries and whatnot.
And look at who's showing up in mid lane. Ice is getting on a little bit more than he could chew. Wifey was a little bit late to the party, but the party's over. Ice isn't partying anymore. He's going to be partying in his grave, maybe. 2 dead in mid lane at 2 minutes in. Good Lord.
I don't know about that play at all there from Ice just taking a 1v1, and then in the enemy side of the lane, of course, Ashbury's going to have free rotation there over Wolfie in that moment. There's just not, I mean, don't get me wrong, Chiron pressure in mid is good, but it's not that good in that moment. And so why are we taking that trade? It's a double kill now for the Artemis Bow incident, and they're going to be really happy with that. This is a mid lane that does outscale the other side, I would say. Once Merlin gets some items, once Daji gets some items, they will heavily outscale their opposing 2v2.
On right side shows up Woofy. Wifey and Woofy, yeah, they both have the different iterations of Woofy. Woofy shows up right side, and into the air, Palau goes, pulling Game Hunter down and locking him in place, and Woofy's able to take him down. Another kill going to Woofy, 3 up for the Artemis Bow incident. There's got to be a shorter way to say that. What do I say, the incident?
The Artemis Bow? Artemis Bow? Artemis Bow incident?
Artie Bow Incy?
Artie Bow Incy? Yeah, I think Artie Bow Incy is actually pretty sick.
Oh my god. All right, we'll start saying that. It sounds like it's like French or something, right? Like Artie Boincy, like, I don't know. Like, remember when there's Riley and Obinable? Like, kind of the same thing, like, just like a funny name. Yeah.
Something like that.
Look at Ice here. Showing up. It's a purple buff. Ice around the corner. Not sure if
good wall.
RC Boincy knows, but Ingo's Ice, look at him getting good damage off of the purple buff still available for taking, and Ragnar's going to steal it away, but the fight continues because Ingo's Woofy, looking to dive into the back line, lacerate forward so we can get damage through the Viper shot, but looks like Pupstick doesn't get too much off, but Woofy's forward. Yeah, the tectonic rift was massive there to create some space.
Woofy.
Kala still poking away, and look at Woofy just, getting decent damage out, but purple buffs regardless going the way of Clown Fiesta.
Wolfie was taking a 1v1 with Ashbury on the top-hand side of that Gold Fury the entire time there. Got the better end of things with the health bar, but didn't commit the ultimate. Maybe could have looked for a solo kill onto Ashbury on the Merlin, but didn't. I don't know if it's not trusting themselves in that moment to go for the play, but just didn't commit that ultimate in that moment. Maybe knowing that Gold Fury being up soon means we need to start kind of looking for plays for saving our ultimate to look for plays to get the Gold Fury, I think. So just didn't feel comfortable committing that ultimate in that moment.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, if you're not feeling it, you got to talk with the team and make sure things are going your way. Oracle is being looked at by Wolfie and going to give them vision of the Gold Fury. So that way they know if Clown Fiesta wants to sneak one over them, it's not going to be as easy as they once planned. And look at Wolfie now rotating through the jungle, playing it a little aggressively, but Kalas and Ragnar are aware, not going to give them an advantage position. Instead, we'll go back to base or whatever. Ragnar will hang out in lane, I guess. Wolfie's going to go back to farming, and Firebrands are available. I think Seagull is going to be the first there.
Yeah, Seagull, I think, though Ice is in the area as well as Wolfie. Wolfie has prio in this mid lane, remember, on this Chiron pick. And Kalas is also nearby. You can see Wolfie and Preds on the way, but I think they're going to be too little too late. First Brands going the way of Clown Fiesta.
Good. Very nice. Very nice. I mean, Brands, like you said, permanent stacks that work their way. Clown Fiesta might be down on kills, a tad bit on gold as well. A pretty negligible amount at this point, but still, I mean, every little bit of objective counts. Then those Firebrands might provide the tad bit of damage needed for Wifey's Centaurus to find the kill instead of just getting a low health bar. Or maybe same thing from Ardio aspect. There's a lot of different occasions.
You see here, ultimate being committed there by Preds. They're looking for Kalas.
And look at him going into the back line. Woofie's looking for blood into the powwow and finds a pull. Woofie kills Ice. Down Thor goes. And where do they go from here? I mean, Gold Fury might be a little bit ambitious, but I mean, maybe finding a kill is just enough for them. But look at where Preds is right now. Preds is a little bit farther up towards where Ragnar is in the back line, and even here in the mid lane, there's still some fighting to be done. Wifey doesn't want to give up control of the mid lane beacon, even though it's not up. We want to scare you off, scare you away, go back to base, and don't come back.
Yeah, for sure. Nice little play. Ice again, just getting caught out, not on his own in that moment, but still just getting caught out. And, man, that is a tough one there for him. The Thor has to get the ball rolling here, I feel like. If they continue to just kind of let this pace happen, the Artist Bow incident is just going to continue to snowball, honestly. They are in a good spot. They're 4-0 in the kills. They have a gold lead. It's minor, but it's a gold lead nonetheless. And I don't know, man. I feel like it has to come down to Ragnar on the left-hand side. Ragnar has to get involved on this Newt. He's in a pretty good position. He's got that first item. Maybe look towards pulling this Gold Fury sooner rather than later, but you can see here Preds around mid lane alongside Ashbury continuing to put pressure here in the mid lane.
Pressure being put out, trying to shut down Wolfie from doing too much more than they already have. We talked about how prominent this Chiron pick is. You don't want to let it snowball. You got to take care of Wolfie first before anything else in the mid lane. Beacon, due to Preds already being there, he's going to make sure that it goes the way. Looking up left side. Ooh. Oh, that's a whiffed ult from Kalas. That's fine. I haven't used this ult a whole lot either. I don't know how the RDO ult works too much. I don't blame you for missing it. Maybe a little bit of practice there might have helped you aim the trajectory a little bit better, but that's okay. Pupstick is going to hang out under the tower, and that's just how things are.
Yeah, still a nice look there from Kalas. Did pull the beats from the Medusa, who is here trying to contest this red buff, but Kalas in the area means this Medusa will have to back away to safety. I feel like Preds has just abandoned Pupstick on this left-hand side completely and said, all right, just whatever you do, don't die on that left-hand side. I'm going to go help get ourselves some mid pressure, get ourselves some mid farm. And it's not all doom and gloom, except for the fact that Ragnar has a 2-level lead over here on the Newt. And it probably won't net themselves a kill, but more neutral farm will continue to snowball towards Ragnar on this Newt. The Medusa gonna have to try and do everything that she can to just try and stay even, as Game Hunter completely immune to that ultimate from Kabrakan.
I completely forgot that was a thing through his passive, but Game Hunter isn't safe because of that. No way. Almost taking Preds to the grave with him, and look over the wall. Centaurus snipes from Wolfie, will take down Preds. The 3-headed dog is dead in solo, but so is Game Hunter. One dead on each side. Masterful shot trying to slow the siege of Artie Boensi, but it's just not going to happen today. A kill and a tower makes the incident go the way of Artie Boensi. But, I mean, what did we get from there? Firebrands aren't up yet. Gold Fury's online, but that's on the other side of the map.
Yeah, this is such an interesting game where it feels like, last game we saw people playing for these small objectives versus this time around, it feels like just objectives in the individual lanes are what's kind of happening. You know, the Artemis Bow and Sea, they're getting kills and then they're getting a neutral camp. They're getting the Firebrands, or they got the tier 1 tower on the right hand side. It's nothing major. It's not like a Gold Fury. It's not like a Pyromancer just yet, but still it feels like they're starting to build themselves a pretty significant lead as it continues on. Clown Fiesta are still in it. They're still kind of right there with them, but I don't know. It's starting to feel like a momentum shift is favoring the Artibo NC more than anything. And that could be scary in a comp game. You can't allow an enemy team to just continue to feel confident, continue to build that confidence going into the mid to late game, especially on a comp that already is good in the mid to late game.
10 minutes in, a little bit further than that, 10 and some change. 1 kill for Clown Fiesta and 5 for Artibo Wincy. And Gold Fury hasn't been taken down just yet, but both teams have vision and are looking as much as possible. One thing that we haven't really talked about, we saw Genetics use it a lot earlier in the bracket, and now from Kalas, is that Curio. Curios that they don't even show up in itemization, but it is a big part of it where sometimes you get free wards or the Gala Flare, but a lot of the supports recently have been opting to deny vision. Ults out from Preds, locking down Kalas down to half health, finds a stun, but CC immune through Petrify, doesn't find a stun, but good damage on the Kalas, and a kill over near Gold Fury as well. Wolfie just got shut down by Wolfie?
Wolfie got shut down by Wolfie, yeah. No, I mean, that's a good shutdown there. You trade Ice, sure, but Ice isn't worth anything. He was already 0-2. Wolfie was 4-0 at that moment. That's a big shutdown going towards the Chiron, and Seagull on this right-hand side could be in trouble as well. Wolfie with another one.
Boom! Look at the damage there from Wolfie already. He went from 0-1 to 3-1. The damage is massive from Wolfie. And Firebrands could be looked at in just a moment. They're about to respawn. Pyro's online, and Gold Fury is ready for the taking. It's just a matter of finding an opportunity to take it, but neither team has really found an opportune time to do so. It's just been innocent little kills here and there, but nothing too crazy. I'm sure that will change as time goes on, as Firebrand's getting looked at here finally. Wolfie making his way over to take that down, and through the one and masterful shot, I mean, the damage from Wolfie is just humongous already.
For sure. I am getting a little worried though about Ice. 0-3 on this Thor so far, has contributed to 2 kills, sure, but Ice for me will hold that though. Ragna in a world of hurt here on the left hand side. Can he get away? Yes, he can. Preds doesn't commit.
That's a-okay. Ragna's down to 300, but goes back to base to heal. Wolfie is here now, though. And look at Ice around the corner.
Ice
Surely there's got to be some visions from Artibo Wincy, but oh, well, my God! The ult from Thor, followed by Centaurus snipes. Down goes Preds in the blink of an eye. 2 ults used to secure that kill, but with one down, maybe they find Wolfie as well. And Wolfie looking for Wolfie. I'm the real wolf around here. Will the real wolf please stand up? And it's sent back a little bit. Masterful shot from all the way downtown, utilizing that +1 global range. Wolfie is forced back to the tower, or at least the jungle, to hide out a little bit and maybe grab the purple buff and run. But the Gold Fury finally being looked at by Clown Fiesta. This could be their time to take it. And with only 2 members on it, it's going to be a pretty slow burn.
All back.
But Ragna and Wolfie making their way. Yeah, everybody from Artibo Wincy went back to base. 4 members all back at the same time, and Clown Fiesta says, all right, it's time to party over here.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, that's a huge misplay by the Artibo Wincy. They just all back at the same time. 4 members in base at once, and they lose that important early game objective. The Gold Fury going the way of Clown Fiesta. And what a little play by Ice and Wolfie. I mean, Ice kind of doesn't guess the right angle. You can see Preds is, hanging out in the bush. So is Pupsic. But right as Preds is walking back towards the tower, that's when Ice decides to drop in, lands that stun, and Wolfie doesn't hesitate for a second, pops that ultimate, fires off a couple arrows. They take down the Cerberus for the second time this game now. And Clown Fiesta get themselves a Gold Fury, and suddenly it's them with the 1K gold lead.
Big plays going down from Clown Fiesta. Might be down on kills here at the 14-minute mark. Down 2 kills to be exact, but they are up on gold. An ever so slight amount, a little bit over 1,000. And a Gold Fury token in favor of them means they'll go out of base a little bit faster. It'll be a little bit easier for them to farm. Oh, and ult off the mark from Ice looking to lock down Wolfie, but wasn't going to happen today. Great juke shoes put on by
Game Hunter.
Wolfie. Now fighting by the Firebrand. Centaurus Snipes doing good damage onto Seagull. Down he goes, but Ashbury found revenge onto Game Hunter in the battle of the mid laners here in the Gold the Fire Giant pit. It's kind of epic, I'm not going to lie. And oh my god, the damage from Ashbury's online. Wolfie's in a bit of trouble, and over the wall is Woofy. I'm the real Woof as a shutdown goes to Woofy's pockets. Woofy is dead. Firebrand's down. Red buff stolen. And the Naga is respawning right now. This could be the time to take it down. But instead, we'll be looking for Kalos. Maybe one more kill. There is a mid lane tower to worry about. But Prez is okay with tanking it. Ultimate utilized from Kalos. Followed by the Powwow to hit a pull. Kalos is dead. Another body fallen. Slain in the mid lane, and Ardibo not able to get the Naga off of that. Instead, going for red buff. Maybe they're their way now.
I think they'll probably look towards this neutral objective around the Fire Giant, the Moonlight Naga, more than anything. You could see Ice is on the way, but I don't think he's going to be able to get here in time. I mean, what a bit of an oops by Wolfie there. Yeah, they get themselves the kill onto Seagull and trade Game Hunter, but then taking the 1v1 against Ashbury, just unfortunate moment there, gives himself away. That shutdown gold going to Ardibo, kind of tough for them to deal with now. Wolfie, yeah, he's still in a good spot, has now finished the Transcendence, which is a little late, sure, but I think you're going to stack it really quickly. You can already see 8 stacks completed here. Remember, it's off of damage, not off of, last hits, like the way Devourer's Gauntlet is. So he's going to quickly stack it up because of how late in the build he already is. He's got good damage behind him already.
So we're working our way. 16 minutes in, the Queen Naga has fallen. Ardibo are just doing such a good job of objectives. I mean, the gold lead still slightly in favor of Clown Fiesta, but an almost negligible amount. I feel like I was saying that a lot today. And kill lead going for Ardibo. I mean, it's anyone's game still. The mid lane beacon being fought over. Ardibo in control. Poke damage going towards Kalas. So not much more the Clown Fiesta can do, but watch his Game Hunter finally here. But the numbers game still favors Ardibo. Ice does have ult, though, and ready to jump in at a moment's notice. He's into the air. He might land down at any moment. Will he play aggressively here? Goes in, stuns down Prez. Tectonic Rift locks him in place, but Prez counters with an ult of his own. Stygian Torment doesn't quite find a lockdown, though, in the favor of the fight in Clown Fiesta's hands. Powwow into the air, looking to pull 3, but a massive B. It's from Wolfie. Will make sure that everyone's okay. Just cleanse 3 chains from Powwow. That is massive for Clown Fiesta. 4 members making it rain on the beacon here in the mid lane. Clown Fiesta in charge once again.
There's a reason Chiron was the OG anti-Athena characters, because when you go in and you try and dash taunt, and your taunt is just instantly immune, you suddenly can't play the game. Wolfie showing exactly why Chiron Cleanse is not underrated at all. It's so good here against this composition, especially against the Serb, against the Daji. Left-hand side, Pupsic, he's in trouble here.
Petrify utilized, doesn't find a stun. Great cleanse from Ragna, looking to lock down Pupsic once more. Another slain member of Ardibo into Olane, but Gold Fury's online. Clown Fiesta with 4 members could make their way there. Game Hunter's just next door in mid. This could be an easy Gold Fury pull, the second one of the game to go to Clown Fiesta, but instead of looking for gold, we're looking for blood. Prez is in a whole heap of trouble. The left side tower falls, and a great root from Kalas will kill Prez. Down are both duo lane members of Ardibo. Gold Fury is surely going to be taken here.
I feel like this is just Clown Fiesta trying to build themselves a gold lead. The game has been around 1,000, barely even 2,000, gold lead back and forth, back and forth. Clown Fiesta take the tier 1 on the left-hand side. They get a kill on the Preds as well, and now they get the Gold Fury. You can see it's around 1,000 gold lead officially for Clown Fiesta, but just barely. But you can see Ardibo, they're doing a good job of just finding small victories. What happened? They went mid and took the tier 1 tower while all that was happening on the left-hand side to get themselves a little bit of gold to try and stay even. Again, it's barely 1,000 gold lead for Clown Fiesta. And to me, the Ardibo, there's still a composition that's scaling. Merlin's still getting items here. Deso, Book, Totem of Death, Rod Tahuti, likely Obshard next here for the Merlin. So much damage already online here versus Wolfie, who's got themselves Transcendence and now a Blink. Yeah, the Blink's decent. I think Combat Blink, incredibly underrated on ADCs right now. Chiron, maybe not so much because of the way Chiron wants to play, but Remember, it's a combat blink, and it's not a very long cooldown compared to base blink.
19 and a half minutes in, and a 1,000 gold lead for Clown Fiesta. 2 gold Furies will let them lead in gold, but through Firebrands and the Queen Naga, Artie Bowensi just have a little bit more damage to boot. Itemization is still relatively even so far, but I mean, fighting odds seem just as even as ever. We're really down to how we talked about earlier, picks and counter picks and matchups. This is really where the game lies right now because of how even we are.
Yeah, I could see Clown Fiesta trying to push their lead here, but look, Wolfie could get caught. Gets the beads force by Preds. Nice little wall there by Ice Ice, though.
The Ice Ice wall kept Surd from going forward, and the Stygian Torment didn't land a knockup because he couldn't go over the wall. That was the most big brain tectonic rift I've... Did you see that? That was crazy.
Thankfully, Serb isn't spotted there. But yeah, I agree. A nice little play by Ice Ice. And I mean, Ice Ice is a sick player. I mean, he was 0-3. Now he's 3-3-3. He's in a pretty good spot as a supportive jungler here. And that's what he's doing. That's why he went Aspect. He is there to play setup for Wolfie here in the mid lane. And then, yeah, I mean, that's all that it's there for. Ragna and Wolfie are the damage dealers, and Ice Ice is just there to be set up.
Pyromancer getting taken down by Wolfie. Preds was there, but just a tad bit late to maybe steal. We have seen crazier steals through paralyzing Spid, but Preds just wasn't aware and couldn't make note of it. Another objective going the way of Clown Fiesta. And even though Artie Bowensi had a lot of early game dominance, I mean, Clown Fiesta, now that they're in the mid-game phase, we both talked about this. We both kind of figured that this is where dominance would lie once we got later in the game. It's just that there's a lot of scaling characters on the side of Clown Fiesta, so we're just waiting on damage to come online, especially for not just Wolfie, but Ragna as well. I mean, the later you get into the build for Ragna, the harder it's going to hit, as we see some pretty interesting items there. Tearfing and Kinsblade, some interesting pickups.
Yeah, I think this is the true yellow numbers build once again, or I guess Pen ADC build that we see. Tearfing is obviously a replacement for Oathsworn. Normally you would have Oathsworn in that slot, but because Ragna is on Newt, a magical damage dealer, he's not going to get the benefit of the Oathsworn, so going towards the Tearfing instead, just bonus yellow numbers as well. But the Kinsblade and the Titan's Bane, I mean, Titan's Bane tried and true. Kinsblade seeing a bit of a resurgence because of how much health is being built by tanks, as well as receiving a bit of a buff kind of recently. So the item is just in a really good spot that it's kind of being bought yet again by ADCs. It's seeing a lot of play. You can see Ragna, I think, now going towards what I believe is an Odibo as well, just really leaning into that attack speed yellow numbers build.
And that's great because, I mean, how we talked about the aspect of the Cosmos doesn't offer too much as far as scaling goes, so your abilities won't be hitting as hard. But with all of this on-hit damage available, at least your basics are going to be slamming, and that's all you can ask for, right? I mean, you got CC immunity within your dash for you and the homie. You've got a lot of basic attack damage. I think that that's really all you can ask for a carry. That and a fight starting ultimate through Skyfall. This Newt pick is surely going to be showing up once we get later on into the game. But for now, I mean, the biggest thing that has my attention is, holy crap, Callus, that's a lot of health.
Yeah, that is a ton of HP for Callus. The Gauntlet of Thieves first, which an item we don't see too often anymore. I think Yogi's has kind of replaced the Gauntlet of Thieves in terms of being the true health item. But I mean, look there at just how much HP he actually has in the build. Even Ragna as well has some decent HP as well to the Newt. So, I mean, just so much HP on the side of Clown Fiesta. It's going to be hard to chew through. Pupsic does have that Kinsblade, which will help a fair bit, but still just not as effective as Preds. Looking for an ultimate.
Stygian doesn't find the knockup quite so, but a fight unfolds from there. Into the air, Ragnar goes, looking for somebody in the back line, but in goes Woofy as well into the back, able to clean up a lot with Palau. Ashbury's got damage to boot, and it looks like Callus might be in trouble. Ice retreating on the other side of the map, and with 2 dead and 2 going back to base, Game Hunter is the only one in the way for Fire Giant. You're absolutely right, but I don't even think Game Hunter wants a piece of that pie. It's a little bit too hot. It just got out of the oven. Fire Giant starting the the burn here. Ashbury's got a lot to boot, and with Pupsic here as well, that Fire Giant's going to get burned away pretty quickly. But Game Hunter feels confident in healing this away. I mean, a straight 2 or an ultimate could maybe make this happen. He ults into the back line. Taconic Griff finds a root as well. No way the Clown Fiesta are going to take it here, but Ice Ice gets shut down by Ashbury, and Game Hunter looking to root everybody. Petrify utilized, but doesn't find a stun. Game Hunter couldn't take one with him to the grave. All 5 members of RD Wincy are alive, and Kalas getting pushed away by Seagull. Can't go through the wall. Nowhere for him to go. Kalas falls as well. Another 2 bodies dead. And Fire Giant maybe gets picked up back here, but with Wolfie and Ragnar online, ultimates available for Wolfie, and Ragnar's is almost up. Maybe they could steal it if RD Wincy go for it. So I don't know, with everybody going back to base, if Fire Giant's even a possibility anymore.
They're going to try it. All 5 members on the way here. Pupsic is arrived on this Medusa. Ragnar and Wolfie have to try and pull this off. Wolfie has ultimate. Ragnar does not, and it's getting lower pretty quickly. Centaurus, can he steal it?
Waiting on it, 1,500 health, but all 3 are utilized. Ult possibility is gone. Ashbury secures the Fire Giant, and Wolfie is running down Wolfie right now once more. Onto the powwow, and down goes Wolfie once more. Will the real Wolfie please stand up? And powwow is standing above all.
Yeah, just going back to that play on the left-hand side, it looked real cute. Preds goes in, gets an ultimate, the Stygian Torment. Doesn't do a lot. It gets some beads, it gets some key members up in the air, and then it looks like, oh, we could just kill the Cerberus who just dashed in like an absolute idiot, and then he gets out with very little HP. Wolfie commits the ultimate to try and kill off the Cerberus. Ragnar goes up in the air, chases down the Cerberus from the air, but as soon as Ragnar lands back in, the rest of the members of the Yardibo Incy team are there, and they just kill off Ragnar. They've already killed off Wolfie, and then down those 2 key members for just the support. You're able to go play for that Fire Giant, bait in the members of Ice Ice, Game Hunter, and Kalas. They do exactly that. Kill them, and then turn their attention back towards the Fire Giant objective and get themselves that. And Yardibo Incy, they're going to get the first, I think, true lead of this game. It's only 2,000 gold, which is crazy to say, but they're going to try and snowball as much as humanly possible now with this Pyro and Gold Fury.
26.5 minutes in, Pyromancer getting taken down, and the Cabal put on so nobody could steal. Ashbury secures the Pyro, and Clown Fiesta looking to get back in one way or another. They did have a bit of a lead for a while, but have seemed to have lost it as the game goes on. The late game phase is almost upon us. It is just showing the dawn of it. And it looks like Yardibo Wincy are in control as they march down the mid lane. Pyro Bomb in pocket for Preds. The tier 2 towers falling here. Split pushing up right side is Ice Ice. Able to take a tower, but the tier 2 falls for Clown Fiesta in mid lane. Maybe they go towards that left side tier 2 also.
Yeah, you gotta pay respect to Yardibo Incy's damage now. Ice Ice had to clear that siege minion on the right-hand side. Now is gonna take it back here to help defend this bird, but you can see Yardibo Incy, they're just denying farm here. They're playing pressure to take towers and stop Clown Fiesta and force them to, sit in their base, do their homework, have to clear the waves. While Yardibo Incy can continue to take farm off the map away from Clown Fiesta, they'll get themselves this Gold Fury. And suddenly they're in a really commanding position. 2 Phoenixes weakened here on the left-hand side and in mid. Right-hand side tier 2 tower also weakened, but I wouldn't be surprised if Yardibo Incy immediately just run back to that left-hand side and try and siege it out. No, instead, it looks like they're grouping to the right-hand side, going to take down that final tier 2 tower.
Well, some of them are going back to base and getting more. I guess Merlin had enough for some wards. Yeah, you got to have wards. That's a smart pickup. You got to have wards.
Of course. Wards win games, Mort. You didn't know that?
I haven't heard too much about this ward trend going around. I figured it was just something that the lower level players were doing, and the higher level players were just going off just knowledge, No, I mean, wards do win games. Chat, please know that I'm joking. Please ward in the games that you play. Goodness, I'm so tired of playing raids without wards. In goes Woofy. No way. Wait, Preds is going in for an engage. Ult utilized, but doesn't find anything there. Galliflare provides vision, so Yardibo Incy know where Clown Fiesta lie. They don't even care about this tier 2. You can have it. It's a constellation prize. Just please don't take our right bird, left bird, or any of the birds. And that's fine. Yardibo Incy don't really care about that. They're going to wait out the Fire Giant. Oh, no, they're going to walk forward.
I think they're just trying to stop Clown Fiesta from, going out and farming right now. I don't know if there's a world that Artie Boincy can really siege here. I think this is just them denying farming time for Clown Fiesta because Artie Boincy have already hit such important item spikes. Clown Fiesta have not. Good news is Ragnar has finished up the Oboe and Heartseeker completed for both Wolfie and Ice Ice, so they're not in the worst position should a team fight break out. But Artie Boincy, you can already see they're backing off, just not allowing vision to be picked up here around this Pyromancer that's due to spawn soon. And that's likely going to be the target of the Artie Boincy.
Pyromancer about to spawn. Fire Giant pretty short as well. Pyromancer's here. We've got some time on the Ancient Fury, but still the left and middle bird are debuffed. So at any given moment, oh no, beads utilized it. Wolfie just got, oh my god, into the powwow and into the air also. Ice Ice goes. Skyfall ready to utilize. Into the backline, Ice Ice goes. Ragnar just dumpstered on Wolfie, and the snipes from Wolfie going out as well. Clown Fiesta are back in a big way, but Seagull takes down Ice Ice in the process. And look at Kailas diving deep into the backline. Osprey is still in trouble. Seagull dives straight to Ragnar, took him down as well. Popsic just melted Wolfie, and only 2 members make it 1 and make it none. Deicide, Artie Boincy emerge victorious and march down the middle lane to finally win this game and make their way to the finals.
Man, that looks so bad for a second there. Wolfie just goes in way too deep there, trying to pick off Wolfie. Dashes in with the 3 and then is just standing there, gets walled off, so isn't able to back off to safety. Has the powwow, though, to stay alive. Ragnar uses that ultimate again alongside Ice Ice to try and commit to kill off 1 member, but it's just 1 member. You don't need to commit 3 ultimates at that point to kill just 1 guy. Just 1 guy. Let him go. He's no HP. He can't fight it anyways. Use your ultimates on other key members. And man, feels bad for Clown Fiesta. I feel like that was such a winnable game for them at moments.
And just when Clown Fiesta got momentum, Artie Boincy shut them down to make their way to the finals of the EU Conquest tournament. And who will be joining them in the final set? We'll find out after the break. We'll be back in a few. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the EU Conquest Tournament of the 2026 kickoff event from Smite Prime. My name's Morty. We've got the whole crew with us today. We've got Jithens, we've got Rosie, we've got Testai, and next to me here at the booth is none other than Spirited Book. And we just watched a pretty incredible match between Clown Fiesta and, it was an awesome semifinals match. It was great to see.
Yeah, for sure. I think Clown Fiesta, they made it close at times, for sure. But Artie Boincy, man, they just looked so much better in key moments where they needed to. A shout outs to Woofy on this Dodgy. 8, 2, and 5. What a performance from them. Ashbury on this Merlin went undying as well. Popsic, I think, an unsung hero of being abandoned in the lane, and despite having all the neutral farms stripped away, still managed to make an impact here and there. So a good performance from this team in general. Look at that 30k damage on the Merlin, by the way. This character is still pretty good, by the way.
And it was a fun game to watch, and we are making our way into the finals. But before we get to the finals, Book, why don't we take a little trip down memory lane and see how we got here today? Because we started pretty darn early, and I want to see exactly all the matches we got to see, who beat who and who got where, now that we're with the Rat Catchers up against the Artie Boincy in the finals. This is what we saw today.
Yeah, for sure. We started first off with watching Smokebreak take on Hyped Up Gaming Org. Smokebreak, just absolute stompage there. Really well done by them. Then we swapped over. Ooh, where did we go? I Wish for Wealth versus Rub My Belly. That was a pretty back and forth game for a bit. I Wish for Wealth, though, getting the better end of things. And then, of course, we went on to Rat Catchers versus Smokebreak, which started off pretty decent back and forth, but then Rat Catchers just absolutely ran away with it. And then, of course, our last matchup we just watched, Clown Fiesta versus the Artemis Bow incident of 26 or something like that.
Artie Boincy. I when we came out of the break, I forgot how we were saying, because I remember the whole name. I was like, what were we saying? Artie Boincy. let's see what they're fighting for. We're in the finals. We're in the grand finals of the EU Conquest tournament. There's quite a bit on the line. Let's see what they're fighting for as we look at this next graphic here, the 2026 kickoff, and a lot on the line. It's $2,000. I did say $5,000 earlier. $5,000 is how much prizing the whole thing has, but $2,000 is what the winners will be walking away with today should they win. That's a whole lot of moolah for a one-day event.
Yeah, for sure. Fantastic. And it probably is a lot of fun for a lot of these players who we mentioned, some players returning and some players getting back into the swing of things and other players just on the come up and doing really well as of late.
But you don't just get a sweet bit of moolah, you get a little bit of a prize as well. I don't always show it on screen to show what the victors will be showing. And it's the Smite Prime badge. It's a mythical level. And that's pretty sick. So not only can you represent the Smite Prime badge, but there's another title to show off to our grand players here.
Yeah, I mean, you get to be the Smite Prime champion and show off this, that you won Smite Prime to all your friends or to all your ranked opponents, just striking fear into the hearts of those around you who dare to try and take away your SR as you climb the ranks, obviously.
My favorite thing is I like to show off the Smite Prime badge, and then all around it's the gold border. So they think I'm like a Prime champion, but I got the gold border instead. Yeah, I got it. I haven't won anything. I don't want y'all to think that I'm like an awesome player or anything. I'm just, a player. But no, we're not talking about me. We're talking about the game, the finals, and there's a new system in place in the finals between this set, which not only is it a best of 3, but vault bans are in place, meaning that if a god is played in game 1, they can no longer be played in game 2 or 3. If a god is banned, then they still need to be banned in game 2, but if they're played within game 1, they will be vault banned. So once a god is played in a set, it cannot be played anymore, which is a pretty awesome stipulation and really forces players to scrape the bottom of the barrel for their god pool. You don't get to just slam Chiron throughout the bracket now. You've got to come up with another mid laner.
Yeah, thankfully we're going to have to maybe expose some of these Chiron one tricks potentially here. But yeah, this is pretty exciting for sure.
Well, let's see how it goes down. Who's going to be picking what with this new system in place? Picks and bans are ready for the grand finals of the EU Conquest tournament with 2K on the line. Ratcatcher's up against Artibo Incy. And I mean, this is a pretty stacked roster on both sides. Dardes, who was putting on a clinic with the Serb support earlier on. I mean, Theeks was doing a great job as well, adapting with that Hunbat's aspect of disruption, really just putting on a show for everybody into doing, really showing up with Cabrakan, but in a Anubis ban.
Yeah.
What?
I'm kind of a little shocked by that as well. I feel like Artibo Incy knows something that we don't here, and I'm not sure what it is. I will say every other ban here makes sense. The Hecate ban makes a lot of sense here. We saw Theeks pilot it earlier. It was very successful on this pick. I'm actually kind of surprised we see Newt let through entirely. Both these ADCs, Streak looked really good on that ADC earlier, and Pupsik had to deal with it, sure, but I don't know, man. But adapting, gonna get their signature Tsukiyomi. We saw this banned away from him earlier. Let's see if it just absolutely pops off here.
You're right about the Merlin pick. It still slams. Top damage last game. Let's pull it back out yet again. Ashbury's going to use this Merlin pick, and Preds is going to use Serb once more. Maybe not as... I don't think this is because Preds did the best job ever of Serb, but I think it's because Dardes just slams with Serb. And we saw what Dardes did up against Smokebreak with the Cerberus support pick. I think we take that away from Dardes. Don't even give him the option to look at that. Newt picked up, along with Amaterasu, 4 rat catchers. And this looks like an interesting comp here. Not a lot of lockdown, but a whole lot of damage.
Yeah, for sure. Like you mentioned, not a lot of CC. The stun on Tsukiyomi is the one I'm looking at more than anything to play setup. So I feel like there's going to have to just be more. There needs to be more CC setup here for the Rat Catcher's last 2. Though granted, Newt, we kind of mentioned it previously, has some underrated CC already built in once they go towards that aspect. And with how Streak played earlier, got to imagine they're going for that aspect yet again. But the Artibo Incy dual lane already looks really spooky here. Cerberus on her. We saw this lane earlier today. It was by Smokebreak. It was Vaporish Coast and Genetics who played that dual lane, and they just ran it down from minute 1. I feel like this Newt is going to really struggle as the game goes on. But hold on a minute here. Something is fishy here, and I'm not certain which it is. I feel like this might be Amaterasu support.
This might be Ama support. And this also might be Serb solo because Guan Yu's here. Surely we don't play Guan Yu solo, right? We're going to use the aspect of the general and let him heal up a bunch and reduce cooldowns through conviction. Maybe. I don't know. I mean, honestly, I have no... Oh, for the first time today, the Aladdin's picked up. We just saw a crazy bunch of picks in like the past minute. Okay, we got a lot to talk about here.
Yeah, there's a lot to go through. I think the Jormungandr is going to be one that we have to keep an eye on of where it's being slotted. I feel like this has to be Ama into Cerberus. Now, where that Cerberus decides to go, I think is going to depend on where this Ama decides to go. Because I feel like both Yorm and Amaterasu can kind of pseudo play both positions of solo lane or support.
Right.
But I don't know if you can really put Guan Yu in solo right now. It depends on the matchup as well. Either way, I feel like Rat Catchers are in a position where we can kind of choose our matchups really effectively. And Artie Boincy, I feel like, are kind of forced into Guan Yu support and maybe Cerberus solo. But with how Preds played last game, I don't know, man. It could be Guan Yu in the solo lane. Just let Seagull play the farming angle and be aggressive in the mid to late game, be a heal bot as the game goes on, and really play as a 5-man core. That's what the Artie Boincy composition wants to do. Play around Guan Yu healing, play around Guan Yu shredding protections in front of him, play around the Cerberus paralyzing spit setup in the ultis. Meanwhile, you have Merlin on her and Aladdin damage from a distance that can just do so much in a moment's notice.
Well, let's see who goes where and who will win the game one of the finals. As we go into the game, it's ready for us here. Enough hypothetical talk. I've had enough of it. I want to see what goes down and who goes where. That's an Ama support. You had it on the mark.
Yeah, I feel like it makes sense. With how Preds played Cerberus last game, there's no way you're not going to give him this pick yet again. And then Dardes says, okay, what's the counter to Cerberus? Okay, we need a silence. I will go Amaterasu, who can kind of play a somewhat similar style to Cerberus in the sense of being in your face, just kind of wailing on you with damage, but also be kind of a facilitator. Hasn't gone towards the aspect, so has that aura for movement speed and damage to set up Streak. And I mean, with Streak going towards the aspect, has more CC available to him. That's going to allow the Amaterasu to kind of be more of an aggressive support style frontliner in this game.
You know what I love about this Amaterasu pick? I've been a fan of it for quite some time, Amaterasu support, but it does this thing that not a lot of supports do. And for a lack of better words, I like to call it number fudging. Because think about it like this. You are debuffing your enemy's damage through the Ama passive. You get damage mitigation through your 2, so you're tanking more. You give out auras to all of your allies through your passives, your 1. So you're mixing up a lot of numbers and making the fight work the way of your favor through numbers specifically. Yes, you do have a silence. You do have an AoE stun as well through your ult. You do have a little bit of crowd control, a little bit of damage on your own, but through the number fudging, you can get a lot done and really hurt their potential.
Yeah, I like it. I feel like that's a really cool idea. The concept of number fudging for Amaterasu, we're gonna have to hold on to that one as the weeks progress. I mean, I feel like it's a nice idea. The question I have is it gonna work out? Because I mentioned how we have a great top 3, you know, Amaterasu, Newt, and Tsukiyomi, and that was a lot of damage, but not a whole lot of CC. Jormungandr does fit that idea, as does Discordia for a moment, but to me, there's no ease of access of a stun, you know? There's no, like, Sylvanas root into a Sylvanas pull into a Sylvanas knockup. It's just a lot of, like, okay, we Discordia rooted them. Okay, we knocked them up previously with Jormungandr, and in tandem, yeah, the CCs can combo, but there's not one person dropping all these combos of CC.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. And that's kind of what made me wish that we would have went Amaterasu solo and then take Yorm into support. He does. I know it seems like, he doesn't have a lot of pressure without some damage numbers through itemization to give him a little bit extra damage. But even with the aspect of the unyielding, that Yorm knockup sends them flying. You got to remember that the knockup length is increased. Paralyzing Spit forces Aegis away, followed by the Yonher disperse, and Streak is down to 100 health. Blink and you'll miss it.
Adapting looking here in the mid lane as well. A bit of a potential scrap here between these two junglers. Woofy going in a bit of a poke battle, but no, instead Adapting happy to take this one because Theeks is on the way.
No way. Aegis utilized from Woofy running for his life. I mean, he doesn't have an ult. He doesn't have a lamp to throw anybody in, and he was down on abilities, and Streak just took down Prez. Wait a minute. Weren't they the ones aggressing earlier? What the...
Yeah, they were. I mean, it was the on her, and a nice little look there from Preds with that paralyzing spit. Stop me if you've heard that one before, but it's not Dardas this time, it's Preds. But it still just isn't enough damage. Streak and Dardas are able to walk away. They're low on health bars, but I guess they just went back in, took the trade. Preds falls for first blood there, and it goes the way of Streak.
Okay, so something I want to cover too, before we get too caught up in the action, you were right, it's Guan Yu solo, but he still went with the aspect. So, I mean, what, you just out-heal your enemy and do little by little damage? What's the strat there? Pretty
much. I mean, the Cerberus is on your team. You're not worried about that form of anti-heal as Pupsik has to back up there defensively and jump to safety. I mean, Guan Yu already isn't playing for the lane. You're already kind of content with saying, yeah, Guan Yu's going to get out-rotated. He's going to get out pressured. He's going to get out farmed a little bit here and there. But at the end of the day, he still does the same thing, aspect or no aspect. He'll still heal. But with the aspect, he's going to just heal a little bit more, play that supportive style from solo lane. Cherio was a player that often did similar styles of play with the Geb solo and just kind of played a support from solo lane. Instead, it's a similar concept to that, just with a Guan Yu instead.
Deduin walks forward, looking to maybe steal away this blue buff, and we talked about it. Deduin is the lane bully here. Yeah, he's got ult. He's ready to party. This guy is not scared of anything right now, so he's going to steal away this blue buff. He does have a Sunder as well, should he need it, but not going to need it just yet. It's slowed down by the Caltrops, but will still go to the lane safely. Firebrand's not up for taking. That was taken a little bit earlier on. And look at Preds dive in to steal the purple buff. Is he going to try and paralyzing spit that thing? I mean, that could be the move to try and take this. Streak's going forward anyway. And look at Dardas walking forward, but that's not going to work out their way. Preds forced to jump back down about 300 health, but not feeling too aggressive. Low on mana and low on health as well.
You can go a few years without... Oh, hold that, actually. Pupsik in a bit of a trouble here as Streak dashes in aggressively here.
And again, low on mana. Preds is in a whole heap of trouble. Doesn't have too much to throw at him aside from a couple basics, but they still hurt pretty bad. 87 is nothing to wag your tail at. Streak is definitely hammering numbers early and not even a single tier 3 online. So I would be watching out for Streak as the game goes on. Darda is going to be giving him a lot of room to work with as well. One thing I didn't even think about as far as the counterplay goes, I mean, a lot of damage that Serb puts out is through Ghastly Breath, and pretty easily Dardas can silence that.
Yep, that's what I was talking about in draft when I mentioned, like, oh, you want to put the Amaterasu in the lane the Cerberus is because that Ghastly Breath can just be silenced away. Adapting, finding a kill, though, around the mid 2v2 onto Woofy.
Nah, really, Adapting's going hard here. Look at him go. He's continuing the chase to Ashbury, looking to lock him down, but instead, he'll go back to the tower and play it safe from there. Ashbury does not want a piece, and I cannot blame him. Adapting going back to his own jungle. He's going to farm things up and get ready for those Firebrands, because they'll be up in just a moment. Amaterasu won't utilize here on left side. Skyfall as well. Does find a good pull, but not enough damage to get a kill on Pupsik. Instead, Pupsik will recall back to the base and play it from there. The Firebrand's being looked at by 3 members. Dardas dashes forward, and this could be big trouble for Preds. The 3-headed dog is dead on left side, and the Firebrand's being looked at. Looks like Rat Catches will get momentum there. The Deduin is able to get some damage off as well. Onto the horse, Guan Yu goes. Seagull looking for a stun, but... Adapt. No, the lamp lands. The lamp lands, and Theeks is surely dead. The ability to reset will let Woofy take care of Theeks in quick time. Running up the wall, chasing down his enemy. Adapting's in trouble. The Kufik is just off the mark. Adapting is okay under the tower. The Deduin rotating over, saying, What is going on in my jungle? Time to take care of business. But around the corner is Woofy looking for more. Dardas just showed up in a big way, rotating already. The Deduin just got caught out. Seagull slamming damage already. Another kill goes towards Ratcatchers, but they lose Ashbury in the process. Dardas is still here. Woofy's hammering out damage, but doesn't have a lot of mana to work with, so he jumps over the wall and plays it safe. What in the world did we just see?
I mean, Dardas just rotating on first there and can do exactly that with that movement speed. Aura can always be to the fight first across the map. Preds shows up late, and still it's a fight going the way of the Artie Boincy. Yeah, you trade your mid laner, but still you get 2 kills to your name. Have to make sure you secure this purple buff, though. Dardas on the way.
Dardas walking forward. Pupsic still going for the purple buff, but the 2 damage from Dardas is massive. Over the wall is Streak. Over the wall is Streak, just slamming basics and taking down Pupsic once more. Ratcatchers in the lead by a pretty good amount as well. And here comes Preds, a tad bit late to the party, but that's a-okay because all the Ratcatchers want to do is party. Dardas slams another kill. Preds is dead. Both duo laners down on the side of Ari Boincy means that the Gold Fury, the first of the game, could be scotch-free. Ashbury knows no better. Pupsic is scared. Pupsic doesn't want to fight that, and Gold Fury burns here. A lot of gold in favor for Ratcatchers at the 7.5-minute mark. 4K to be exact. That's a hell of a lead to develop this early.
And they're not done. Streak is going to look for more here onto Pupsic, dashing in aggressively here, trying to all in. Is it enough, though? Has no. Dardas is just going to find all the damage instead. The pullback, no, the shell just too good.
No way, don't bring him towards Pupsic. They're going to walk him under the tower and kill him. But Preds is going to catch the damage instead. Streak is slamming damage. Preds is dead once more. 0-4. Ratcatcher's duo lane is unstoppable.
Deduin here now in the mid lane, but so is the likes of Seagull. They're trying to play for this mid camp, but look on the left-hand side, adapting, just running members down on the side of Artie Boincy.
Woofy finally gets a kill on adapting, and Woofy starting to get a little bit momentum of himself. Deduin's here in mid lane trying to fight for the beacon, getting some damage on the Seagull. They really want this beacon, and I cannot blame him. Ashbury does take a little bit through the Theek's poke, but having to give up control of the beacon because the numbers game favors Artie Boincy pretty heavily, but just now showing up is Streak, ready to do something big. And Deduin gets a good amount of burst damage out, Golden Apple out as well, and Artie Boincy just lost a lot of health in a quick amount of time. Woofy's there, but might get caught out quick. A big root will lock down Woofy and running for his life. So chasing is Dardas, slamming Woofy. No way, the support's gonna get a double kill. No, adapting's gonna get it instead, but still 2 dead bodies on the right side jungle. Artie Boincy have just been checked. Ratcatchers are in control.
Man, Dardas just doing so much work, and on the left-hand side, Streak taking a 1v1, forcing Pupsic to play so defensively here. Maybe Pupsic isn't going to be able to get the back off. No, he won't. He's dead now. Dardas wrapping around the backhand side.
No way, Dardas goes in, but Aegis utilized. Pupsic is sick of all this pressure. Leave me alone. Skyfall is going to take out Pupsic once more, but Seagull finds adapting on right side of the process, so an even trade across the map. But oh my god, Ratcatchers just won't stop fighting.
Listen, man, people talk about how EU plays this slow, methodical play style, but when the chaos breaks out in Europe like this, nobody does it better than Europe. North America couldn't even come close to this level of chaos across the map. Right-hand side, Deduin trying to contest the Firebrands. Has an ulti available, but he gets lamped.
What are you going to do in the lamp? There's nowhere for you to go. I guess you could buy some time. That's probably the best you could do, right?
I think that's all he can do. He's going to end up falling down here. That's his third. Woofy finds that one. This Aladdin now 3-2, but look at this! Adapting is here!
Adapting and Dardas were waiting on the outside of the lamp. Down goes Woofy and Ashbury. Next on the chopping block is Seagull. 3 dead on the right side of the map, but there's nothing for them to take. No Gold Fury, no Pyro, no Firebrands. That's fine. We'll just look for camps and trying to deny everything that Artie Boincy could utilize to get back in this game.
I mean, that was a really huge play for Ratcatchers. It felt like that Artie Boincy we're starting to run away with the game on the rest of the map outside of the dual lane. It was really just Streak with the lead over Pupsic. Dardes also with the lead over Preds. I mean, level 11 to level 7 is pretty diabolical. Preds trades ultimate here, and he's okay with that. Again, only level 7 on this Cerberus, but a fight there for Ratcatchers puts the rest of the team in a suddenly very good position, especially with Gold Fury due to spawn soon.
Okay, so let me get this straight here, Book. Let me get this straight. We are 11 minutes in, and Streak has 10k player damage.
Yep.
1,000 damage per minute.
He's just fighting, man. He's already got Sunbeam Bow as well. This is a little bit of a different build than what he went for previously, if I'm not mistaken, where it was Tearfang. Instead, leading on this early game scrapping that's going on. Sunbeam is going to do a lot of work here, as well as just shredding this objective. Free Gold Fury 11 minutes in. And there's not a lot you can do about it if you're Artie Boincy. You can see Woofy on this right-hand side looking for a potential play. Adapting does so much damage here.
What? Adapting is slamming, utilizing the ult over the wall. Him out on Prez, but he might get pinned down by the pillar. In goes Pupsic looking for revenge. Ashbury cleans up and takes down Adapting. Might have been off a little bit more than he could do, but that's quite all right. Dardes is around the corner, and we already know Streak wants to fight this. Skyfall into the air, looking to lock down Pupsic, but Disperse gets him to safety, followed by the pillar, roots him in place, but CC Immunity maybe lets them walk forward. No, it doesn't. That's okay. Artie Boincy get out for now, but you can't escape the Ratcatchers forever.
I mean, what a cute little taunt there from Preds. Theeks could be in a world of hurt, though. The rest of this team is nowhere to be found or in the area here. Dardes all the way up in mid lane here. Could look for a flank if he wants to. Level 12 on the Amaterasu has Triton's Conch, Screeching Gargoyle. And look at all the hybrid on his team, though. Hold that. He's playing aggressive here, looking for Ashbury.
Oh, big knockup, but beads the way. So Dardes doesn't get pulled. But look at Yorm. Yorm and Streak are in the back line under the tier 2. What about the tier 1? They don't even care. There's blood to be shed, and Ratcatchers want it. Looking for more, pressing forward, looking for Preds, but Preds is going to jump over the wall and escape for now. Streak will settle with a fallen tower, and maybe we find the Pyromancer, which is up on the right side, so that could be the move.
A nice little 2 there from Theeks over the wall forces the members to play really defensively under their tower there. Woofy and Pred so low. They're going to take the opportunity to invade the red the red buff on the right hand side, and just Ratcatchers running away. It's a 10,000 gold lead 13 minutes in. Straight up, it's just 10,000 gold 10 minutes in, and a lot of it comes down to Streak on this left hand side, just consistently pressuring out the on her in a matchup where I feel like he should have no business. Adapting, though, is dead in this moment, and the lamp does connect as well.
Okay, was that an Eye of Erebus? Into the lamp to do and goes, and another kill going the way of Woofy. Woofy might be the saving grace for the team. That is absolutely an Eye of Erebus. That's a crazy pickup.
Wait, where? Who picked up Eye of Erebus?
Look, Eye of Erebus. It's right there next to the Fire Giant gate. Yeah,
Seagull's got it.
It's a ward.
Is it a ward? What are you talking about? I'm talking about the thing that Seagull's picked. What's Seagull got first item?
It's Eye of Erebus. You put down a ward that hurts people.
Yeah. Seagull's got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're saying, okay, we are saying the same thing.
We're saying the same thing here. I was like, dude, I don't think I've seen this built in a Smite Prime game once. I mean, I feel like Jithens has some like AI number stuff that can tell us if that's true or not, but I don't think I've ever seen this, in let alone a cast that I've ever done.
Yeah, and look at that, equal to 15% of enemy max health. So that's going to do good damage to Dardes and Deduin, who are leaning more towards these kind of healthy builds a little bit. So that's going to do good work as well. And again, Seagull is here to be a second support. Look at the build going towards the Heartward Charm as well, to just allow him to heal twice in a row. The Genjis for just more CDR, 4 more heals, and more, accessing the 3 for more Prot Shred. We do see a 4-man grouping here from both teams, but Streak is on the way first. Pupsic is nowhere close. This could be very scary for Artie Boincy.
and the winner could get this Queen Naga. Neither team wants to give it up scotch-free. And keep in mind, this Queen Naga doesn't regen, so they can drop it at any time. Dardes goes into the back line. Skyfall already from Streak, looking at the back line, does pull 3. Deduin follows through, and Artie Bowensi are in trouble. Wolfie slams a lamp, but Theeks is ready for it. Down goes, oh wait, Wolfie just, well, that's a wish for immortality. Wolfie's coming back right into the fight, and is he gonna go straight for adapting? Running up the wall, straight for adapting, but Ashbury's dead. Wolfie pressing forward, but doesn't find a kill. He doesn't have the damage ready. Deduin running for his life, as well as the rest of Ratcatchers go for the Moonlight Queen. I mean, this could be an easy pull, but look at right side. Preds isn't gonna give it up for free. Maybe Streaks and Theeks, they go their way towards Preds. I mean, I don't even know what's going on. Deduin's still running for his life.
Seagull trying to run down Deduin, but doesn't have the damage just yet. Preds as well, they're trying to find literally anything to go their way, but Preds getting the worst end of things as Theeks finds him.
No way. Streak is low on health and even lower on mana, but still fighting with everything he's got. 2 more bodies dead by the Moonlight Queen, and Wolfie trying to escape as well, barely able to get over the wall, but Dardes isn't stopping there. Dardes is not a support. Dardes is a demon, a monster sent from hell. Another kill going the way of Ratcatchers. They cannot be contained.
That's the Season 10 MVP right there. Well done to Dardes, just absolutely running the pace of this game so far. Everywhere that Ratcatchers are being aggressive, Dardes is there going in first. He went in first in that fight. That allows Streak to just go to the sky, throw the ultimate from a distance, and make a big impactful pull. That just is all it needs. That's all they need there. The damage from a distance and the pull from Streak is enough to just allow the fight to go the way of the Ratcatchers. Pupsic was nowhere close to that, but is able to get a good chunk of farm there on the left-hand side. Has 3 items now, working towards that Titan's Bane. Needs that online sooner rather than later, but still just so far behind are the Artie Bowensi. They are finding small victories here and there, a kill or 2, but again, once that fight is washed, once the Moonlight Naga goes the way of the Ratcatchers, why are we still trying to force a fight? Why are we still trying to chase out members who are kind of low? Sure, but it feels like they just, red in the eyes. They just wanted them dead as much as possible, despite being down so much already.
All right, Book, let's take a moment here. Let's recap as the Gold Fury goes the way of the Ratcatchers and nobody stopping them. Let's see where we're at here. My cortisol levels are cooked. I need a second. Yorm is getting fought over there. Wait, Yorm's in the ult? He's ulting away?
Yeah, okay, he's ult away, yeah. There was pressure 18. There. Wolfie was there. Yeah.
Third Gold Fury of the game going towards the Ratcatchers at 18.5 minutes in. And Dardes is just W King. Okay, Dardes, just don't stop by any means. Just keep going forward. Who's going to stop you, right? But Artie Bowensi seem like they want this fight. Seagull lands a 3-man stun. Sigi and Torment to follow. And wait a minute, Preds is going to get melted down. That wasn't a good initiation. He got destroyed by Theeks. Skyfall to follow through. Does find a pull on Seagull. And Dardes slamming Pupsic on the right side. Theeks is there to back his boy up, and Wolfie getting slammed by Streak as well. 2 dead so far for Artie Bowensi. But maybe they turn things around. Ashbury and Seagull got the damage. Deduin is dead. Double kill for Seagull. I guess I was counting out this Guan Yu pick because he's got damage to boot as well.
He's got damage. More importantly, he's just got sustain. He's able to keep Ashbury topped up. Look at that sustain already. They're nearly full. There's just so much sustain from this Guan Yu from the CDR. And honestly, that just looks so bad. Preds and Seagull just overforce that fight. Seagull gets some early beads. Preds uses ultimate on people who were still CC immune in that moment. And then the fight gets split. And that's a Ratcatcher's choice that they made. They split the fight. Dardes and Theeks chases out alone on her. They're not even able to kill him in that moment. And then Ashbury and Seagull in tandem. We saw last game, Ashbury on this Merlin did so much work this time around, yet again, doing so much work in these fights, so much damage in such a small corridor, so much CDR as well to keep cycling abilities, cycle, go through stance switch, fire stance, the arcane stance. So much damage in an AoE corridor, and now in mid lane, Theeks in trouble.
Theeks is in a bit of trouble, is getting dove on by what looks like Wolfie and Seagull up there, but Theeks seems to be okay. They have retreated for now, but who isn't okay is Pupsic, dead to adapting once more. I mean, this is just bad news for Artie Bowensi altogether. What we talked about, this slow, methodical drive down the field from these EU players, is now looking like an arena game. Because let me get this straight: 22-13. We're 21 minutes into the game, so that's like what, a kill every 30 seconds.
Yeah, it's pretty absurd. What's crazy is that 10K gold lead is still 10K. It feels like Ratcatchers, yeah, they're getting wins. Yeah, they're up 10,000 gold, but that gold lead isn't climbing. It stayed at 10,000. I feel like Artie Bowensi have done a good job, and because of this scrappy game, they're able to keep the gold lead as it was. It's not getting better, but they're keeping it at an even footing in that retrospect. So if one more team fight goes the way of Artie Bowensi, I feel like there's an avenue for them to get back in this game.
Pyromancer getting looked at by Ratcatchers. Artie Bowensi are watching carefully but intentionally. They want to steal this away, but can it happen? Deduin looking to provide space and try and take this thing. And Streak is looking for damage. In goes Seagull, stuns it down, and into the air Deduin goes, slams it down, and Streak secures the Pyromancer. Skyfall down, trying to create some space so Streak can survive, adapting, slamming Preds in the side, and in the lamp, Theeks is dead. Woofy is back out of the lamp and looking for more kills. Maybe diving into the back line. Adapting's got a good amount of health, but Deduin is getting ran at. This is bad news for Deduin, and he can't do it. He's out of there. Down goes two members of Ratcatchers. Artie Bowensi continuing to W key, looking for adapting. Dardas and Streak around as well. He's got the ult one more time. What are these cooldowns, dude? Hi-Rez, are you watching? Woofy's getting another kill and a lot of low health members, but that's not going to stop them from pressing forward. 4 dead members of Ratcatchers have just been checked. Artie Bowensi is alive and well.
Oh my god, Artie Bowensi down 10,000 gold, win that team fight, and they'll take the first Fire Giant of the game here. This is insane to watch. Pupsic has done a brilliant job on this left-hand side, finding farm where he can, but Dardes is here. Can he try and steal it away? Knocked up, put in the lamp, no chance he gets that one.
Dardes is getting hammered away by the massive genie hands. The rest of Artie Bowensi hopping into the lamp. This isn't a one-on-one. This is a dog pile. Dardes causing nightmares for Artie Bowensi all game. It's time for some payback. Guys, you wanted a banger of a final set. It's here. It's upon us. Fire Giant brings Artie Bowensi back into the game.
Gold Fury available as well. You got to imagine that's where Artie Bowensi are paying attention to. They got to get to this objective. They got to get to it soon, though. You can see Ratcatchers are on the way. Streak in the area, though. Beaks won't be in the area. At least he's on the red buff. But I don't know, man. Darda's up in 12 seconds. He's really fast. Can get to that objective quickly. Is this them giving the objective, or are they going to hang around? I'm not so certain. But Artie Bowensi, they get the fire. They need to find gold. They need to finish builds. They need to get the Gold Fury, and they need to wipe some towers off the map.
Okay, so there's a lot for Artie Bowensi to utilize this Fire Giant with. Pyro's almost up, but instead, Ancient Fury is alive. Let's go take that down. The first Gold Fury of the game for Artie Bowensi. Skyfall maybe looking for a steal, but Theek steals it. Theek stole gold. Theek stole gold. And just when you think Artie Bowensi is back, here comes a Ratcatchers, but low health members across the board. Woofy just W-keyed Streak and took him down. Lamp lands onto Dardes. Let's take him off the map as well. Why the hell not? Adapting going for Seagull, but reinforcements have arrived, and Ratcatchers are here to take down Woofy in his own lamp, but dashing around looking for cooldowns, barely able to nab Dardes and then walk away alive. But there is a dagger in hand for Ashbury. He could continue to fight. He doesn't even seem to care. Theeks is running away. So is Deduin because he is low, but Gold Fury yet again going to Ratcatchers. All tier 2 towers are debuffed for Artie Bowensi, and the odds of the field have been evened once more.
There's just no Sunder on the side of the Artie Bowensi, and outside of that, you don't have the best secure for your team. You have a Merlin who's great shred, sure, but no big burst damage for securing that objective. Preds doesn't know that they're on the ward here, and so that's why Adapting, not walking up all silly goofy like to clear the wave. But still, you can see Artie Bowensi, they're trying to bait whatever they can here, and they know they need this Naga to go their way, but I don't think they will. the members of Ratcatchers have respawned first, and they're on the map first. And so Ratcatchers, despite losing that Fire Giant, they're still in control of this game.
I don't even know who's in control anymore. I mean, I have to. I'll take your word for it. I trust you, Book. You've been by my side this whole game. You've been by my side this whole bracket. I'm gonna trust your word because this is crazy. This is arena. This is what I see in my 2 a.m. queues when I hit arena. Like this is madness. And the Moonlight Favor goes towards the Ratcatchers 5-on-5 here in the middle. Dagger still in hand for Ashbury, but surely it'll go away soon. But I don't know who wants to start a fight here. I don't even know how this engage goes.
Level 20 available for 4 members of the Ratcatchers. Level 20 available for most members of the Artibo NC. Seagull still not there yet, so no starter upgrade. Ratcatchers, they want to force this. They want to force this now.
2K on the Pyromancer and it's burning down quick. Pupstick takes it away. Pupstick's got the Pyro Bomb for Artibo NC, and Deeks is in a little bit of trouble, getting a lot of pressure from Preds. The Doin's in the back line, but is getting dropped quick. Streak runs at Pupstick and takes him down quick. Down goes one member of Artibo NC so far. Adapting makes it 2, and Ratcatchers continue to W key forward. That tier 2 tower is debuffed, so they could run it down under, but are they confident enough? Let's see.
Wolfie has to stay alive here. He's getting pushed out by Dardes on the backhand side. This tower will go down. It looks like, I feel like Ratcatchers, they might play for the end here. 4-man group, they have Streak still alive. 20 seconds still on Pupstick, and Wolfie can't get a back off because of Dardes.
Dardes is buying time for Ratcatchers to W key forward, and Wolfie just can't get out of there. Dardes says, I'm cool with fighting. Take me into the lamp. I could care less. And the Titan is being looked at by Ratcatchers. 4 members burning damage. Preds is dead. Seagulls in the fountain, not wanting to fight, and the Titan falls here. Game 1 of the finals goes to the Ratcatchers.
Holy cow, Mort. Ratcatchers get that one, and I feel like they're thanking their lucky stars after that one. Wow, that was crazy.
I think Dardes might have had top damage. I
wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised. He did so much work that game on the Amaterasu.
Okay. All right. Let's take a break. Let's think about what we just saw. There's a lot to think about. We'll be back chat in just a few. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the EU Conquest Tournament as part of the 2026 kickoff event. My name's Morty. We've got the whole Smite Prime crew. We've got Jithens, we've got Rosie, we've got Testai, and next to me here in the booth, we've got Spirited Book. And we just watched what might have been the most hectic game in the entire bracket. That was like 500,000 kills in 20 minutes. Dardes with 1 million player damage. That was obviously a little exaggerated, but like, wow.
Yeah, that was pretty insane. I am excited to see what Dardes' final tally was for player damage, though. I think, like you mentioned, he did a lot that game. I think going towards these supportive hybrid items, though, like the Triton's Conch, and especially with a composition where there was so much hybrid potential. I mean, you got 3 other characters alongside you that do really well off of hybrid. Adapting on the Tsukiyomi, Streak on the Newt, and Deduin, obviously, on the Jormungandr. Want to give a huge shout outs to Seagull, though. I feel like Seagull and Wolfie together were really just trying to keep their team in this game as much as humanly possible.
Let's take a look. Damage dealt. Dang, just shy of what Deduin put out. And more than like everybody except for 2 members of the Artibo NC. That was great.
Yeah.
Dude, Dardes just kind of W keyed, especially at the end there when Dardes was buying time for all that. But there's one thing we got to mention, though. You see 10 gods on screen chat, but you will not be seeing them again because of the vault ban system. Because of how vault bans work, when they're picked in game 1, they can no longer be picked for the remainder of the set. They are locked away in the vault, hence the name Vault Ban. So you're going to need to scrape up the bottom of the barrel and find 10 more picks for your next game, not even including the bans that have went through, because the bans aren't vaulted away, but the picks are.
Yeah, that Anubis that was banned away is looking real good there. No. I feel like this is an opportunity for both these 2 teams to really widen or show what these 2 teams can really do more of. I mean, Streak, we've only seen them play Newt today. adapting. We've seen him play Tsukiyomi and Humbots now, likely going to go towards the Humbots if it's open to him. I would imagine, though, maybe Artibo NC just decide to ban away the Humbots from adapting.
Well, let's take a look at who's going to be picking what. Picks and bans is ready, and I'm excited to see how Game 2 went. I mean, that was a banger of a Game 1 to start the final set. I can only imagine how crazy this is going to get. The only thing that maybe would make me think otherwise is that maybe mentalities might be a little scuffed for Artibo Wednesday. I mean, that's a hard loss to take, you know, but you still got another opportunity in the mind. It's all about keeping your chin high, head forward, and keep moving from there.
Yeah, I think you could be a little tilted after that one. Sure, you had opportunities to get back in the game entirely, but also this is a potential reset angle. You just say, guys, look, we would have won that game if we just didn't throw our lives away needlessly in the early game. We can play. We've shown that we can team fight really well. We just got to get there. So this is a potential reset angle for the Artibo NC team where they just say, guys, it's okay. What happened, happened. Let's get back to the early game again, not die as much. Maybe draft a dual lane that has some decent wave clear, can really match what Nuke brings or whatever Streak is going to decide to play here, at least in the ADC role. So Artibo NC, again, decide to ban the Anubis, though, which is kind of surprising. They're really worried about something that Ratcatchers have in the back pocket, it seems.
I wonder if this is maybe like a secret Theeks pick, or maybe the Duin. The Duin could be slamming this in solo and kind of like denying early game pressure. Same thing that the Yorm does, basically. Maybe that's what it is, or Theeks has been practicing with it. There's a lot of options, but regardless, it's not an option anymore. Banned away. Hekate and Odin to join the list. Not a lot of surprise there. We've seen Hekate banned a little bit, and Odin banned a lot throughout the entire bracket today. But a first pick Sylvanas. Ooh.
I mean, first picking this does kind of... It's nice because it's pressure in dual lane, which is what the side of Preds and Pupsik lacked last game, was, you know, decent wave clear in the early game. And Sylvanas is good pressure over there. But this does mean Ratcatchers can kind of guess how Artibo NC want to play already. You want the Sylvanas to kind of play initiation with the knockup and then play peel. And sure enough, there it is, adapting going forward to this Unbot, which is a great avenue here for him and his team. You can just play Fear No Evil if you catch out Sylvanas without that ultimate, without the potential of a Cersei's Hexstone. Sylvanas is a great target here for the Ratcatchers to pay attention to in the early game.
I know that the odds are like slim to none, 99% chance. No, maybe next week in the Joust tournament, we'll see the Cabrakan aspect. We haven't seen that in comp like whatsoever, but I can't wait to see like, I don't know. I think there's like some low-key ball to be had there. I mean, you got good damage with the invis. I don't know. Zeus getting hovered, and that's...
okay. Yeah.
I was about to say, really that could be about it. Yeah.
I was really worried about the Zeus pick here into Cabrakan and into Hunbots here in particular. I think this character would have struggled a lot. But Artibo NC, they were learning from their mistakes. They said, guys, we didn't have duo pressure. What are we going to do? Well, I know. Let's draft the ultimate pressure duo lane ever. Uller and Sylvanas are being locked in here for Artibo NC. A great counter response, though, by Ratcatchers. This is these two characters just counter their opponents. Cupid counters Uller because of the ultimate, and there's no CC immune ultimate for Uller. And then Bacchus is just anti-heal engage knockup onto Sylvanas.
Oh, right. Bacchus has anti-heal now. That really shuts down Sylv. But I'm wondering, so probably let's just assume Cabrakan solo Bacchus support, right?
Oh yeah, probably. More than likely here.
Yeah. I don't have any reason to believe otherwise.
No,
we have seen the occasional Bacchus solo, John Rowing.
Yep.
When you're up creep without a paddle, John Rowing. And he's got Bacchus solo right there. I mean, but I don't know. John Rowing's not here, unfortunately. I would love for him to be here, but he's not. Maybe it's a Deduin thing. Poseidon back, maybe for Woofy. Artemis here.
Wow. Okay, so Artemis, the response to Cupid, which I think Artibo NC have actually drafted this perfectly, where they say, guys, let's pick Uller. And then what does our Ratcatchers do? They respond by picking the counter to Uller. Cupid, no CC immune ultimate. Fields of Love, gonna shut him down. What is the counter to Cupid? Artemis. Artemis with the 2 can just avoid the slow of Fields of Love and really just kind of run down or run away from Cupid whenever they ult. So Cupid in lane is kind of stunted. The Boar as well is fantastic. I feel like this is a great little mind game that Artibo Incy have played here in just the draft, as well as rounding it out with a Poseidon in the jungle for Woofy, kind of to how we saw similar earlier in the day, where we see Poseidon in the jungle to allow these double ADC compositions to come through, and that's exactly what we've seen here yet again.
There's an interesting factor that we didn't have with team comps in last game, and it's objective secure. Last game, it was kind of just, we're going to run at each other in the pit while the objective's killing one of us, and then whoever gets like a stray AoE probably gets the Fire Giant. But now, assuming that Poseidon goes high intelligence, you could steal it away with the Kraken. Earthshaker from Vulcan, easy steal from long range. If you time it right and wait for the health bar to get at that sweet spot, I mean, Vulcan can steal pretty easily. So that's a factor you've got to keep in mind going into this next game. Ratcatchers could be ahead, but then lose objectives one by one to the Kraken. Same thing for Artibo Incy. You finally find some early game traction. Preds is on a support he's a little more comfortable with. Or, I mean, I guess Artio solo, right? Maybe that's a Seagull pick. I think that makes sense. And Artio whatever, solo, I mean, you find some traction, and then Earthshaker steals it away. You never know really what to expect. I think it's like the biggest thing you got to keep in mind. Whatever you think is going to happen whenever you get a couple kills, go here, you have to be ready. Who can steal this away? Where is Vulcan? Where is Poseidon?
For sure. I agree. I also think it's interesting that both teams, as we'll hold off on that, we get ready for game here. Game number 2 between Ratcatchers and the Artibo Incy. Excited to see what these two teams have to offer for us, especially with how game 1 went. But just going back to it, Ratcatchers, their composition, again, similar in style to game number 1. It's all big circles in terms of CC setup and damage. You know, a big CC setup with the Fear No Evil. Theeks can follow up with a big ultimate, the Earthshaker. Across the way, Artibo Incy, they have some AoE damage, but most of it is just AoE CC setup in the forms of the Sylvanas, some of it in the Artio. The Artemis is decent, but in terms of the big AoE damage, they're not really looking for that. I say that as Ashbury is actually rocking the Poseidon mid, and Woofy is going to be rocking the Uller in the jungle instead.
Okay, so this changes things up a little bit. Woofy with Uller. Now, Aladdin was already kind of a weird pick, mainly because, you know, we're looking at EU players, right? But Uller is a very especially different pick, but I think there's a lot of success to be had here. You've got high mobility, you've got hard crowd control through the axe. I'm a big fan of the Uller jungle. What about you, Book?
Yeah, we see some prod kind of pilot this from time to time, as well as Tegvir, usually from North America, play these style of picks. I'm excited to see what Woofy can do here on this character. Are they successful? Are they able to be aggressive? Because adapting, we talked about the Cupid into Uller matchup and how it counters. Adapting on a pick that can kind of do something similar, has a ton of CC in the kit to stop this Uller from free casting and kind of doing what he wants. I feel like adapting can really take these 1v1s pretty effectively.
Yeah, I mean, even with the aspect where he does a little bit less damage, like the interruption through crowd control just makes such a big difference, and Pred's already low on health. The burp being utilized to, you know what? I'll admit it, Book. I'll admit it. I wasn't going to say anything, but I was a little bit of a doubter when I saw the Bacchus support hit the screen, thinking, I know it's Dardes, but come on, it's Bacchus, right? He's not the most prominent support. He's definitely a little bit strong in his own way, but this guy's pulling relics with burp. Okay, I guess Dardes is different.
I mean, this is one of the dual lanes that they're effective to, as Preds gets caught by the level 2 of Dardes and Streak and just instantly dead. This is the dual lane that you want to pick Bacchus with. You want to pick it into low mobility characters like Artemis, like Sylvanas. No dashes for either of these two makes them prime targets to the Bacchus flop.
I mean, this is okay. Well, that's true, because not only is it just, you know, okay, fighting over here by oracles, Woofy putting on some pressure. Yeah, you got to keep in mind that Sylvanas has nowhere to go. He cannot escape the belly flop. If he sees that coming in, he's just kind of like, oh crap. Like you just sit there and take it, maybe heal afterwards. Hopefully you don't die, right? So yeah, I think that's a very good call here. Overhead smash finds a stun on Woofy, but Ashbury looking for some damage of his own, gets some onto Theeks, but just a bit of an easy exchange here back and forth. Nothing too crazy just yet.
For sure, and this is kind of what we'll see Just lots of little bits of scrapping here and there. As we see Ashbury actually playing aggressive here, looking for the Whirlpool onto adapting, but not going to find it. That Whirlpool will be important as the game goes on. Can you cancel the dashes before they get them off in time and really stop Ratcatchers from using their mobility?
Okay, 2.5 minutes in, and it's a relatively slow start. A bit of exchange happening back and forth compared to the arena game we saw last time. I mean, it's definitely it's been a little rough, but a great pull from Prez, followed by a bit of a body block, forces Aegis away from Dardes. That's a big relic pull. Firebrand's about to be online. Let's see who gets those first.
Yeah, nice little relic pull and a pull in general by Preds there in that moment, looking for another blind one, but can't get it. I mean, a nice moment because Preds and Pupsic are due to hit level 5 soonish before that Aegis is up and available to Dardes. So maybe there's a potential playmaking angle on this left-hand side. Speaking of playmaking angle, Ashbury in trouble here.
Riptide utilized, but might not save his life. Oh, the Kraken is out, finds a big knockup, but won't stop adapting from somersaulting in under the tower, grabbing a pull. Wolfie's over here on right side, looking for Deduin, but putting on the juke shoes, escapes the stun. That means the Firebrands will have to be the Constellation prize. Deduin walks forward, though. Doesn't have a Sunder, but does have a Dream to maybe steal them away. Waiting for reinforcements. Here comes adapting, somersaulting in. Does have Fear No Evil online, and he just utilized it to take the brands away. Wolfie's in a little bit of trouble. Seagull does land a decent heal, but doesn't fly too much afterwards. Deduin's down to 200, and look who just showed up. Adapting takes down Wolfie. Seagull is in a whole heap of trouble, looking to defend the blue buff, but he can't even defend his life. Ashbury goes for Deduin and thinks he's getting ran at less than 10 health. He's running with everything he can. All of his structures, all turrets put down to save his life, and it did the job. Ashbury retreats back to the red buff saying, bah humbug.
Yeah, nice little play there. I mean, Wolfie being there on the right-hand side, it's nice and all. You're trying to make a play because Ashbury got... Oh, nice pull there on the left-hand side on the Dardes, who's going to take a couple tower shots, though. But no bore available means they're just able to take down Preds.
My goodness, this Ratcatchers duo is just unstoppable. Like, oh my god.
Yeah, that was pretty disgusting there. I mean, Dardes just says, yeah, I'm good here. I'm getting pulled in. I'm good. I don't have Aegis. I don't need it. I'm just going to CC Preds in front of me. Streak had ultimate, drop the Fields of Love. And they're able to get another kill onto the support here. Dardes and Streak already setting themselves up to run away with this lead in the duo lane again. And already Preds has abandoned the Artemis here on the left-hand side. And I feel like Pupsic is just dead already.
Good luck, Pupsic. You can solo farm as much as you can. Boar having to be utilized to get a bit of poke damage out and make sure that Dardes doesn't kill him near the tower. Instead, I'll hide under here while my ult is down. Relics are up, though. Pupsic should be okay, especially now that Preds is back over here to maybe secure the purple buff, which isn't up for a second longer, but Dardes walks forward, regardless of Streak focusing on the camp. I mean, the pressure from Dardes is just immeasurable.
Yeah, for sure. And similar to how he played in game number 1, just continuing to run enemies down. Preds does hit level 5, though, has to use it, but still gets stunned.
Okay, pull doesn't land, but the root doesn't either. Preds might have missed a little bit, having to use Sylvanas ult to make sure he didn't get stunned by the grab. Meanwhile, Gold Fury's getting burned away. What in the world? Ratcatcher's here, adapting using Fear No Evil, down to less than 1,000. Kraken here, but doesn't do enough to finish off the Gold Fury. Who takes it away? Artie Moensi barely gets their hands on it. That was a very close call, but they're going to lose Wolfie. They're going to lose Ashbury, and Preds is being sought after, but a good root will make sure that Preds is A-okay. Does have a pull online under the tower, followed by the cripple. Oh no, Preds is surely dead, and they're continuing the dive. Ashbury still under the tower, and Dardes tanked it the best that he could, but Pupsic is alive with 100 health to his name. But the rest of Ratcatchers stalking their prey known as Pupsic. But Wolfie just got back. Missed the axe. Missed the other one. Mixed just about everything. Wolfie, you got to hit one. He finally hits the basic. Oh, my goodness. Streak almost got out alive.
That was spooky there. If the dash came up from Streak any sooner, probably would have gotten away with that tower dive. I mean, Preds with 3 deaths already to his name. We're kind of seeing why this Sylvanas, you don't pick it too early on because of how there's just no mobility to this character. So it's an easy target for the members of Ratcatchers to prioritize, as Preds is able to take away these small heartbeat or small minions beside the purple buff, but I don't think he can commit to the invade here. He'll back off. Still, all the while, Pupsik has remained alive in this left-hand side, continuing to farm on this Artemis, and Artemis is a ticking time bomb that Ratcatchers will have to find an answer for as the game goes on.
7.5 minutes into the game, and it's 2-8. Artie Bowinsley have 2 kills, and Ratcatchers have 8. And 1,000 gold lead, it's nothing too crazy, but 1,000 lead is nothing too wild. But a Kraken under the tower maybe locks Dardes in place long enough to get finished off. Oh, the Earthshaker barely off the mark. Ashbury's okay. With the Firebrands alive and well, ready for Seagull to go over and take him, but Seagull's going to go for a blue buff instead. But Firebrands, I mean, somebody's got to take those bad boys.
Axe off the mark there. Woofy trying to contest adapting is the 3, not even close. The hail of arrows. Woofy's got to lock in a little more. I feel like Woofy kind of missing a couple of key abilities. We saw it there on the left, and now showing it on the camps, trying to steal those away. I feel like Woofy's got to lock in, really focus, prioritize hitting these abilities, because as this game goes on, Uller will start to hit, and you need to be landing those abilities if you want him to be hitting the damage.
That's true. You don't do damage unless you hit your abilities. And I feel like what this is, because you talked about this during picks and bans, that, okay, I'm going to pick Uller, but then they counterpick with Cupid. That's fine. We'll send Uller somewhere else, but maybe that somewhere else means it goes to a player that doesn't really know the god too well. I feel like that's kind of what's happening here. You get me?
Yeah, I feel that, as on the right-hand side, Seagull may not be okay to do. I'm going to dive him out.
Kraken ult as well, locked into place. Seagull has nowhere to go. He's just unlocked for days, adapting into doing and clean him up on the right side. Another kill going the way of the Ratcatchers.
3-0-4 for adapting so far. Just 9 minutes in, this Humbots has been everywhere, making the impact that he wants to make so far. Great pull there, pulls the Vulcan there.
2-man knockup followed by the burp, and then an Earthshaker forces Aegis away from Ashbury, but adapting blinks in over the wall, connects with the 3, somersault forward, looking for Woofy, but Woofy's on the run. A great pull from Preds will create some space, followed by a root, and adapting still continues to walk forward. A great stun from the Belch of the Gods. Adapting gets another kill. No Gold Fury to take, no Firebrands, no Pyromancer, but will settle for blood and the gold in the enemy's pocket. I'm
gonna be so for real with you, Mort. That pull there where Preds is trying to keep their jungler alive, as he's actually just dead here in the mid lane. Cersei's gets blocked off there. Adapting cleans up that one. Ashbury can't clean up the jungler. But that pull there where he's peeling for his jungler might have been the best pull this game. And that's mostly because every pull that Preds has done onto a target pulls them in towards his carries, and either Preds is dying or his carries are dying. In that moment, Preds lands a pull, and then Dardes just says, okay, sounds good. I'm closer to this Poseidon now. I'm going to chase him down. And he's just dead.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. I think what you're saying is absolutely true. Even though he's been aiming for trying to pull under the tower and let the tower do some work. I mean, Dardes is too tanky, especially when you have a shield and mitigations through your chug.
Yep.
I mean, Dardes just doesn't tank a lot of damage. Or he does tank a lot of damage. He doesn't take a lot of damage through that. So it's hard to make the tower do that much work for you. You're going to need some follow-up. And right now, with how far back Artie Bowinsley are, I mean, there's just no way that they can do that. 10.5 minutes in, make it 11. Artie Bowinsley are down 4K gold and 10 kills as well. 4,500 to be exact. Another pull off the mark, but the whirlpool locking him in place. Deeks is in a bit of trouble. Fall by the correct. Sylph knock up does a lot of work there. Deeks is dead, and now we're starting to see some value out of the Sylvanas pick.
Yeah, the double knock up there between Preds and Ashbury, gonna deny the usage of that Aegis from Theeks. A nice little play there between those two. It looked a little spooky. Ashbury just overforcing the play as Preds, speaking of overforcing, could get caught here.
Preds gets hit by Fear No Evil, locks him in place. Cersei gets blocked off by Dardes, and Adapting gets another kill. This guy is unstoppable.
Yeah, Preds just continuing to die. Ashbury now in trouble as well. The stun from Adapting connects. Woofy is here, but doesn't land the axe. It's onto the minions instead.
Nah, Adapting is still going, diving under the tower, going off of the burp, and then the belly flop, followed by the somersault. Woofy's in trouble. Overhead smash goes for the wave instead, but Adapting 8-0-4. Count it, 8 kills. That shutdown will be legendary, but will it ever happen?
Adapting, starting to become Adapt King yet again here. And Gold Fury gonna go the way here of the Rat Catchers. No real response from the Artie Bowency team. They'll have to just take the Constellation Prize on the right-hand side, get the Firebrands, try and find some farm. And for now, Rat Catchers are just continuing to snowball.
I mean, I could have swore I just did a game recap, what, a minute and a half ago, and it was a 4K gold lead. Now it's 7. Streak just killed Pupseek. Make it 7.5 or something like that. I don't really know the goal on that, but hiding in the bush like a bunch of rats. The Rat Catchers have been bitten. They've fallen into their own trap, and Deduin's getting chased down under the tower. Seagull's taking it away, but Deduin's fine with taking this fight. There's no way he wins a 1v3. That was a tad bit too confident, but I guess I know why he's confident. Adapting's around the corner. 9-0-4. Are we going to see double digits jumping in? Somersault goes straight to Ashbury. Fear no evil locks him in place, but Theeks takes care of Ashbury. Woofy's in a whole heap of trouble. Looking after Woofy. Adapting kills another. 10-0-5. Let's make it 11. Preds is dead. Theeks finds the kill, and another 3. Make it 4 dead bodies all across the battleground. Rat Catchers in control once again.
I mean, it was a nice look there. I mean, Preds gets the ultimate, sure, the knock up on the Deduin, and then Ashbury holds the Kraken for too long. Immediately just has to use that Kraken just for damage at that point. Tries to get the double knockup instead, and that allows Deduin to land on the ground from Preds' knockup and get that Aegis off. Avoids so much damage there in that moment, and is able to stay alive and avoid the gank. Rat Catchers continuing to push their lead and win out across the map here. 10-0-6, like you mentioned, for Adapting. He is just running this game so far.
Running this game, to say the least. 3 items and counting, utilizing every little bit of that gold he's getting. I mean, Rat Catcher's just doing so well, but Artie Bowency down quite a bit, but not a terrible amount. I mean, 9K is definitely a little rough, but I still think there's some breathing room for Artie Bowency. They can still farm, they can still, try and level out here. It's just a matter of, trying to steal objectives. Like we mentioned, the Kraken from Ashbury could easily knock away a Gold Fury should they play correctly, but Theeks is in about half health, gets stunned away by RDO. Earthshaker utilized to create a bit of space so Theeks can escape, go back into the range of his turrets. Firebrands are melting down the turret though. Dardes walks straight towards Woofy, and Adapting kills Ashbury. No way, but Seagull's continuing to W key. It's all he knows, and we've hit a pause.
Yeah, I feel like Woofy and they just forced that fight a little too hard. Yeah, poking out Theeks was great there, and then just trying to full commit. Preds wasn't even in that fight in that moment as well, and just felt really overforced in that moment. Just, I don't know, man, not a good look for the team. And Ashbury just falling on the left-hand side to Adapting, who's just so far ahead already. Yeah, man. Yeah, it's tough. Tough one. I don't know. There's not a lot you could do. A squad of Adapting, man, they're just continuing to run the game. They're continuing to snowball, continuing to find victories, continuing to find kills, objectives, gold leads, experience leads, relics, kills, all of it.
More kills. More kills. Just dog piling on the kills. I mean, just kind of going on the map and just eating up wherever he goes. Yeah, I mean, Adapting and friends looks demonic right now. But I'm not sure what the break is all about. We're probably working through a tech issue or two here or there. We'll let you know as soon as we find any details. But for now, I mean, we can just kind of talk about the rampage that has been Rat Catchers since they made their way into the finals. I mean, earlier on in the bracket, I thought, okay, this Rat Catchers crew, I mean, they're definitely something to talk about, right? Not just, I don't know. There's a lot on that team to talk about it, but I already knew they were going to be good. But this level of competitiveness, I mean, at the finals, it's crazy to see.
Oh, all right then. Sounds good. Yeah. I mean, nice little play there, but I agree. Rat Catchers are so good. They're really strong. They beat. Is it Witchcraft? Witchcraft they beat earlier on throughout the bracket, which was our prime champions from 2 weeks ago in North America. We obviously watched them beat Smokebreak earlier on during the day as well. Another really strong European team. And yeah, now we're just seeing them run over the Artemis Bow Incident team as well. Just so much here going their way as we see Pupsic on the left-hand side trying to farm it out against Adapting, but isn't able to do much else outside of that as we see another pause come through here. Not sure what's going on just yet, but just some farming going on across the board, and I guess some issues that one of the teams are experiencing.
I'm getting word from Jithens right now that we're going to Adapting's house and taking away his W key so we can try and even out the playing field.
It's like that one moment in that, I think, friendly tournament where Hindu Man walked across the room and just smashed Baskin's keyboard, and Baskin still won the game afterwards.
Dude, a top 5 Smite moments of all time. Like, dude, that was so peak. That was so peak. I honestly, like, those were the days, man. Those were the days. Those were the fun days, man. Cool. Baskin just getting absolutely owned by Hindu Man. I've said it out in my prophecy. I'm nowhere near the level of Hindu Man, but one day I plan to smash a keyboard. One day for Smite, for the level of Smite. Will it happen? Probably not. But I've got the ambition. I've got the hopes, and you never know.
Hey,
you never know.
That's what
your keyboard could be next book. I'd be careful.
Whoa. Okay, let's not get too hasty here. But no, I think. Listen, at the end of the day, if you have the drive, if you have the power, that's what you do.
Wait, what?
Oh. So okay.
Wait.
We'll talk about this.
Tess, can you repeat that one? Let me make sure I heard that correctly, Chad. I think I heard a com, but I want to double check this. Tess, can we repeat this? All right, chat. Artie Bowincy has forfeited the game. I repeat, this is not a joke. Artie Bowincy has forfeited game 2, meaning that Ratcatchers have won the finals.
Okay.
Not gonna lie. Look, I'll call it how I see it. You walk into a game. Let's cut to a break. Let's cut to a break. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Smite Prime, the 2026 kickoff of Smite Prime. The EU Conquest Tournament finals have been decided, and the Ratcatchers are the winners. My name is Morty, and I'm joined here by the whole Smite Prime crew. We've got Testai, we've got Rosie, we've got Jithens, and next to me here as well is Spirited Book. And not a little bit more decisive of a game, you know. And I understand, you know, things happen. F6, you know, move on to the next one, and hopefully your rank queues go a little bit better. But these are the stat lines. This is what we got.
Yeah, I mean, look, Artie Bowincy, they obviously frustrated a little bit by some circumstances, but unfortunate for them, they end up, you know, just taking the FF, saying, "Look, guys, you guys are so far ahead. It is what it is. We'll beat you next time, maybe." I don't know. But still, I feel like game 1, they did put up a pretty solid performance in key moments. Fighting back down 10,000 gold was very impressive from them. Ratcatchers are a tough opponent, man. They are such a good team right now. These are really good players playing together.
And let's see what the winners, the Ratcatchers, will win for taking on the finals and succeeding in today's bracket. And it is a pretty sweet prize of $2,000. Let's take a look here. $2,000 for today's tournament will be rewarded to the Ratcatchers. And that's just today. We've still got more prizing for next week, the 28th, Saturday, here on Smite Game and Smite Prime Twitch as well. There's a Joust tournament, an NA Joust tournament, and there's even more on the line for each player as well there. So Joust tournament coming up. We finished up the EU Conquest today. It's been a great kickoff for Smite Prime. But we'll see how we got here. What are the teams that competed? Let's take a look at the brackets.
Yeah, I mean, once again, we had a pretty interesting day of games for sure. I mean, Ratcatchers faced off against Witchcraft, took them on there. They actually had to start all the way from round 1 as well. Remember, this is a new team, so they took down Tim Bantanga, how you enunciate that name properly, then took down our North American winners from 2 weeks ago, Witchcraft, then took down Smokebreak, who also did very well last week and did pretty well this week as well. and then taking down KGH, which was, that's the clocked in roster. That's Paul and friends. So, I mean, Ratcatchers, man, they had a pretty tough bracket, and they still just made it look pretty easy at times.
Yeah. I mean, that's exactly true. A rough bracket, but still emerged victorious against all odds. And let's see what else they won. Not only did the Ratcatchers get that sweet $2,000 prize, but they got some badges as well. We did show these a little bit earlier. We'll show them one more time. The Smite Prime badge. So if you see these in your game, there's a good chance that you should be panicking, when you see them on the loading screen. Let's just meet your test, because we have those too. But Smite Prime Champion, another pretty sweet prize. I mean, that's something you really need to be fearful of.
Yeah, for sure. Maybe the badge, not so much, because I think you and me also have one, so we're just kind of, we just kind of got them, But I think this title for sure, definitely something to be afraid of.
But one more pretty sweet announcement before we take off today. Let me show you what we've got cooking up after the NA Joust tournament. We've got even more Smite Prime action ready for you. The March Circuit. We're back to our circuit format every Saturday throughout March 7th all the way to the 28th, with $7,000 worth of prizing on the line, along with, I'm pretty sure it's even more diamonds than what we had last year.
Yeah, I think so. That's 31,000. That's pretty good. 31,500 is pretty fantastic. That'll be split up obviously a little bit between first, second, and third, I imagine, but still, I mean, I'm excited, man. We're getting back to our roots, our format of, 3 weeks of regular season play, or regular circuit play, I guess, followed by a 1 day double elimination playoff bracket where the winner gets all that cash, gets the diamonds, and I believe we're still doing the trophy, if I'm not mistaken, Justin, if you can let me know on that sooner rather than later. But yeah, I mean, the MVP trophy was a lot of fun last year. Excited to see it continue, hopefully this year, as well as just more performances from teams. Obviously no longer clocked in, but a team that is still together and now struggling against some of these other opponents. So I feel like we're going to see some new victors going into the new season and the new year of things.
Hopefully so. We'll find out after next week's Joust tournament. It'll be right here on the Smite Game and Smite Prime Twitch. We're excited to see you there. So thank you, everybody, especially Jithins and everybody else with Smite, for making this happen. Thank you to Book for joining me here in the booth. And most importantly, thank you to every single viewer that's tuned into this cast, because it was a great thing to be a part of. We'll see you all next week. Take it easy, gamers. Thanks, y'all.